Hello, friends, and welcome. July 29th, 2024, Virtual Strangers, episode 218 is on air. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, is my good friend, Ruuts, and with us for the first time in a long time is our good friend, Bradley. Brad, hello. Welcome. Thank you for going through all of this to sit here and nerd out with us for a little while. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Sorry again for those. Okay, chat. I originally tried not to do this stream with the headset on, but it just didn't work. I'm gonna leave it at that. It was problems. So yeah. Hi everybody.
Brad's life is now lived through the Apple Vision Pro. But that's okay, man. Like, it seems to work well for you. I see you online talking about it a lot. And you've managed to kind of provide yourself with a life that allows you to kind of conduct your business in that thing. So I think if you're happy, everyone here's happy just to have you.
Yeah, I'm still very happy with my life currently. I'm happy I can have a headset that finally I can do the stuff that I've been kind of wanting to do for a bit in a headset, like full time. So I'm aware I'm a weirdo. I'm aware I talk about it a lot. I'm sorry. I will try not to talk about anything related to that this whole stream. But yeah, it's good times for me.
It's going to happen, Brad. You can try not to, but it is going to happen.
We're probably gonna talk about like future hardware, and I'll talk about like things I've heard from the component side of things, and like it'll probably trickle in from there. But yeah.
Ruuts, we're back again, doing a numbered episode. These are getting harder to do, man. Like, have you noticed that it seems like it's a battle now every time we decide to do one of these?
There's always something. And I was telling Brad, don't feel bad. It's just the way it was. You come here, you're gonna start having issues like we usually have. And I blame Techno Glitch. He's out there. He says OG Kush for him. It's his fault. All of our technical issues. But we're good at adapting though and getting it done. And Brad did exactly that, and was able to get it working with his headset there.
Well, it's not just the technical issues.
Sorry.
Yeah. Let's see it.
Oh my god. So I got this random freaking mic I found in my closet plugged into my headless MacBook here. I got that plugged into. Oh, I'm holding the web camera. The web camera I'm holding doesn't have a stand either, so I have to like kind of prop it up against some like a toolbox and on some stacked boxes here. And yeah, obviously, and I can't see any of this because I need to wear my Vision Pro and stuff, and I wasn't gonna make everyone watch a persona of me. Not only just because some people don't like the persona, but like I'm on a developer beta and things get really unstable, even more unstable than what before the stream happened. So yeah.
Well, for what it's worth, you look really cool.
Yeah, you like my paint job I did on my maid bonnet here.
Oh, is that what that is? Like, it's so small on my screen. I thought you were wearing a hat under it, but you're not.
Yeah, I got a little like it's like another one of the straps that comes with the headset, but I spray painted them both black, and I have it like going on the top as well. And I also spray painted the facial gasket too, which one looks cooler, but two, less light bleed because it was like a much lighter material, so it kind of like meshed a lot of sunlight if I would go to the beach or something wearing it, which I do. So yeah.
You do, yeah. I see you. Where did I see you at a couple of days ago? You were somewhere outside with that thing on, in public. I don't remember.
It happens a lot.
Yeah, I imagine so. But no, I mean, as I was saying, Ruuts, it's not just like technical issues. Like, when we moved to Monday, the plan was that we would be going on in the afternoons and have it all wrapped up before dark. And as time has gone on and my work schedule has adjusted to fill every little gap in my life, like I didn't even start putting the show together until after like 5 or 6 o'clock this evening. So I mean, we wouldn't have gone on much earlier if if it was just the two of us, right? Like we would have been on maybe 30 minutes ahead of where we're at right now. So like,
Yeah, and I
super
feel,
late.
to be honest, I feel a little guilty. And classy grandma, if you're still out there, I was thinking about you today. As she said, if you guys are regular, I haven't seen her.
Well,
I haven't seen her for a while, and she's probably still watching the shows, but we're not there to be there for live. We're starting so late, and for some people, it's great. We're going to get more people, maybe more in the UK or but we're losing a lot of other people, and we see it all the time. They stop by the stream for a minute to say they're going to bed. But that's one of the things that I don't mind doing is we're flexible, right? And at the end of the day, do we not do a show at all, or do we make it work? And that's what we're doing. So
that would be the smart, responsible thing to do, Roots, is to just not do a show at all and work all day on Monday. But I don't want to do that, man. This is kind of as much work as it is to get to the point where we go live. The point from the time we hit the go live button until we end the stream is actually my break. This is the time I get to relax and hang out and talk about VR and actually enjoy every minute. So I'm glad that that even when it's hard to do a show, that we still try to get out here and do it, because I'm always glad by the time it's all over with.
No, you need your break, so we got to always do it then.
Yeah, absolutely. But welcome everyone, Virtual Strangers 218. It isn't just difficult to do these news focused shows anymore because of our weekly schedule. I mean, the VR gaming news bubble has been a very tiny bubble over the last couple of months. There hasn't been a lot of news out there to talk about. And that's why we're doing like this show every other week, pretty much now. And doing other things in the off weeks is because, I mean, we don't want to come on here and talk about App Lab titles. Basically, we want good news about good games, and we don't typically cover hardware unless I can get Brad to come in here and duck in. Brad, it's been since if the date on that link is correct, it's been like 9 months since we've had you on here. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually crazy. Oh my God, what's happening? Yeah, that's crazy. I'm glad. I'm glad. Yeah, I mean, hey, 9 months. That's like a baby, right? A baby was born last time.
I agree with Looper. He says, and he was talking about the other stuff, but he says he blames Eric. Okay, everyone blame Eric. It's Eric's fault. I still call him Mash. I know he's a little bit more professional. Eric, Mash, Daddy, cool to me for life. Actually, Johnny Five. He's Johnny Five to me.
Johnny Five,
so,
yeah. No, Eric is Mash Daddy Cool's dad. Eric is on his way back from China right now because he's been representing Meta at the China Joy event in China.
Really?
Can you believe that? Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
He said they put him in the Meta offices there, and he went in and everything's in China.
Okay.
There is an office. There's a Meta office, and everything is outdated. So it's still branded Oculus, and there's like old Rift headsets and stuff sitting around in there. But he said it was kind of a cool like time capsule to step into and see all the old tech and stuff.
The fossil building.
Yeah, right. No, but it's an interesting time there where Meta's trying to kind of reestablish their footprint in China, and take on companies like Pico and Tencent in a more direct fashion. And who can blame them? That's the one kind of part of the VR market that really there's never been in much fluctuation. The Chinese people are in the VR, man, and if we could only get half of that kind of enthusiasm here in the West, then we'll be mainstream within 6 months.
The China market's very interesting for VR because it's like, from what I understand, it's very. I want to say from what I've seen of it, it's either like they're still very mega enthusiasts or they're just not in it right now. From what I've seen, I could be wrong. I'm kind of curious if you guys have anything to report from that. If Eric's told you anything.
No, I haven't really been able to talk to him much, honestly, while he's been there. I've had a couple of 10 to 15-minute sessions with him, and it's all been work talk. Like
Yeah.
there hasn't been a lot of small talk, but I imagine we'll get into that when he gets home. And actually, I don't even know. I don't even think he's coming home. I think he's going to the
He's
West Coast. Is
he's
PAX or something
for
soon?
another month or two.
Uh,
He won't go home, right?
yeah, something like that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's a jet setter, man. He's a big deal. Didn't you hear?
I didn't know any of this
No,
was
but
happening. It's awesome though. That's like the dream, I think. Like traveling the world, just like freaking screaming, screeching about VR. That's cool.
yeah, it's pretty awesome, man. I often think about just how cool the situation is for all of us because basically, about 5 or 6 years ago, we all decided to start streaming and talking about VR on YouTube because we thought it was really cool. And now, like, we're in the thick of it, right? Like, we're doing it. And it's kind of weird how it all happened so quickly. And we made ourselves experts, just by being passionate and loving the tech so much. And it continues to snowball out of control.
And
It's pretty
taking
crazy.
risks and working your ass off. I think it's awesome.
We all have permanent brain damage.
That's true. Eye damage, brain damage. They're going to give us the varifocal just in time for it to be too late, and our eyes are going to be busted.
Well, that's the joke, right? Like I think about how every day you get older, you lose your ability to accommodate virgins, and like by the time Varifocal
Right.
might release in a product, maybe all of us won't even get to benefit it as much. Scary.
Right. Yeah, and we will talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes. Imagine this, Roots. This just occurred to me the other day. I was sitting in one of our team meetings at Impact, a room probably close to 20 people sitting in a virtual room. We were all in VR, like meeting in Horizon workrooms, talking about things that I can't talk about right now because it's top secret. People will know soon enough. But sitting in the virtual chair right next to me was Alex Gilling. And it kind of blew my mind for just a half a second how we've kind of come full circle from, when we turned the cameras on in 2019 to where we're at right now. It just blows my mind.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I'm glad he was there as well. And I like I said, I think things are about to change in VR in general, and good ways, right? But
many good ways. The market's opening up in many ways, and we're about to dive deep on that. But before we do that, where's our manners? We should say hello to our friends in chat. Friends like Looper, the Underground Game Cat. Says I sound a lot like Jim Ryan, which I don't hear it, but I'll take
Norm
it.
Macdonald.
Yeah, I hear that one a lot. Ghost Shot is here. Four Wheeling's here. Echo Into the Future VR is here. VR SpryGuy says China #1. And I agree. Alejimbe, the 2-year underground stranger Game Cat is here. What's up? Game Cat Behemoth, Techno Glitch. What up? Looper's here. Evan Yabu is here. The Funk Hunter hunts no further. You found it, my friend. Says PSVR cable coming out soon. Software is up on Steam. Yep, we're going to be talking about that. That is definitely on the agenda today. Inferno 9 is here. Hooked Worm, the Hoosier Game Cat. Rogue TR. Who else? Chrome Colossus is here. Mepper's here. Will Brad have to leave when his battery dies? Brad's batteries never die, okay? Let's
Tethered
see.
to the electric grid constantly.
There you go. What kind of battery backups do you have? You must have some kind of generator or something there going on, Brad, for when the power goes away.
Surprisingly, I don't. I actually had not really power, but I didn't have internet for a whole weekend, and I was shaking. I didn't know what to do with myself.
Prepare, Brad. Prepare. Winter is coming.
Oh
Winter is
no.
coming.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Now I'll get a bunch of Game of Thrones references on my YouTube feed because you said that.
For real. But I have family that lives in Wisconsin. Let me tell you,
I'm
winter's coming.
excited. I'm so excited. It's gonna be great.
Are you?
It's gonna be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I love being cold. I really love being cold. I got I moved here like right when it was like late winter, so there's like one snow left, and like
Oh, that's perfect.
I was loving it. I was loving it. It was perfect. It's like a little preview.
Awesome. Jay, the foveated rendered game cat is here. Q creator is here. Not sure Brondo Zeke is here. 12 the backlog game cat in the house as well. Mark Smith is here. Chinatown D. What up? Who else? Ryan Brandon's here. What's up, Ryan Brandon? Philozix. Just jumped back into REA on PSVR 2. That game looks so good with the OLED, but I see it at fuzzy at times, like the lenses aren't clear. That's interesting. That's weird. It might be something with the actual lenses, and this is something that I've always noticed about Sony headsets. Is I don't know what they make their fucking lenses out of, dude, but it's way more fragile than anything that's on any of my other headsets. Like if my Quest gets dirty, I don't do it often, but if I wanted to just wipe it off with my shirt, I have the utmost confidence that it would be fine. If you've got a Sony headset, you better be very gentle with your microfiber because you're going to get micro scratches on it no matter what you do. So it may be your actual lenses in that. I don't know. Gabriel 004 is here. What's up, Gabriel? Who else? That dank cheese is here.
I love that dank cheese.
Everybody loves that.
Hey, guess
cheese. Radio Runt is here. What's up?
Guess what? Escape Portal got his channel back. He was the first Slippy.
Yes, he did.
So
yeah, everybody that was on the Escape Portal train and fell off when he got into trouble with YouTube, jumped back on. He actually found the one real person in YouTube support and actually managed to make contact with them and had his appeal upheld. And the permanent ban that was put on his IP was overturned. And now he got his channel back.
How crazy is that? They can ban your IP, dude. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I get it. There's probably like 5 people in the world that really need that to happen. And then the rest of us get thrown into this fucking shitstorm. What if you didn't find that person? How crazy.
That is crazy.
It's the first time I've ever heard any.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
Corporation that have that much power to like basically ruin someone's career instantly. It's just insane.
Yeah, we're in this weird time, man, where the kind of laws of yesterday are finding a difficult way to apply to the world of today, because we've got these digital platform holders, and literally people use cyberspace like the last generation used real life space. But the laws that dictate cyberspace aren't like the public laws that everyone kind of abided by when they were standing on a soapbox on the street corner. The people, the laws that kind of apply to social media platforms and cyberspace are like private company laws. So it's owned by a private company, so that they can kind of make their own rules. And that really doesn't work, because these social media platforms, these cyberspace, these metaverse places and applications have pretty much become utilities. They're essential parts of the way today's world functions. So I'm hoping at one point the legislation will catch up with that, and we'll get some kind of digital bill of rights or something to allow people more of a voice. Because as great as it is that with Escape Portal, everything turned out okay for him. He's the first person I've ever heard that's been able to actually win that on that kind of an appeal with YouTube.
Yeah.
typically they don't even give you an explanation. They just the algorithm spits some bullshit pre-rendered message at you, and that's the end of it. You know, you can go F yourself. You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Crazy.
Rogue TR is here. Ryan B is here. Carl Parker is here, and that is as far to the north as I can scroll. Do we have anybody slipping in at the end? I bet we did.
Yep. There's a couple.
People like D1360 VR slipping in. Let's see. Cubo 92 says the Virtual Strangers podcast gets me through the workday. I'm tempted to leave and save the rest for work tomorrow. I get you, bro. Just listen to it more than once. You miss stuff on the first listen that you'll catch.
That's true.
Second.
That is true.
Half the time I don't catch the stuff that comes out of my own mouth until I listen to it back on the stream. Let's see. Anybody else?
Oh, Rogue TR is here. He says, woohoo, a double hello, my first. Well, that was your triple hello, my friend. That is a first for anybody.
No, it's definitely not.
It's probably not, but it was cool. Yeah.
Mr. Cherryman slipped in, as did Samos and the Stig. So yeah, we had some slippies, and our good friend Antone Jones, aka Escape Portal. Welcome back. Four Willins there. What's up, Four Willin? All right, cool. If I've missed you, I apologize. Thank you for staying up late or getting up early, whatever the case may be for you. Let's get into it. I invited Brad on because as I've struggled over the last 4 to 6 weeks to put together shows with abundant VR gaming news in it, there has been an abundance of hardware news. It seems like it's just a nonstop flow of hardware news these days about all the various leaks, things that are official news, kind of platform rumors. I mean, there's just been literally information coming from every sector. So I thought it would be a good time to catch up with Brad and see what kind of insight he can lend to us, because we don't follow this stuff the way that he does. Like this is his jam. So thanks again for joining us, Brad. And I think we should start with the obvious thing. Completely not the obvious thing. Let's talk about Vive, because it is a bit surprising to me that they're throwing their hat back in the ring so soon after they kind of blew it with their last launch. Their last launch being I can't even remember the name of it. Their Quest competitor.
Focus?
No, not the Focus.
XR
It was
Elite.
XR Elite. Thank you. They actually had a compelling product there, or almost had a compelling product there. But we're a little bit slow to the market with certain features and aspects. And basically, even though they got off the starting line first, they ended up finishing last with it. Close, but no cigar. And that was their big return to the consumer market officially. So they're teasing another headset now. And it looks like it could be a Focus 4, because so many of the leaked specs are similar to Focus 3. I guess that's a good place for us to start, Brad, because I see articles like this one on the screen that says that it's going to use a XR2 Plus Gen 2. But I think I read something on your Twitter, some specs that you put out there that don't exactly line up with this. So what are we expecting here with this headset?
Yeah, so we kind of got pranked. Sort of pranked. So the reason why a lot of us, including me originally, have said that this HTC headset that they were teasing would have an XR2 Plus Gen 2, which is also the same chip that's going to be in the Samsung headset, by the way, later this year. But we'll get to that at some point. When Qualcomm announced this chip, which is it's more a higher end version of the chip that's in Quest 3, and that will be in Quest 3S. They said that one of the people that were already working with the chip to build a product with it, one of them was HTC. So immediately, you have people like me and other people who follow this hardware stuff we see the first announced headset since that that statement from Qualcomm back in January at CES. We assume, oh well, HTC has to use that chip, right? They're not going to be slow to the market, right? With a certain chip,
Right.
like they were with XR Elite, right? But I have pretty good sources at HTC. I've leaked correctly the XR Elite. I leaked correctly the Vive Ultimate trackers. So that's already a pretty good, I guess, timeline of things. And I was told by my sources that it actually will not have this chip. It will have the same chip that is in the XR Elite for this Focus 4 or Focus 3S, whatever they want to call it. It's more of a revision than a brand new headset. Now, if you don't know, the Focus or the XR Elite had a XR2 Gen 1, similar to the one in Quest 2, but instead of having, I believe, 6 gigabytes of RAM, they upgraded it to 12 gigabytes of RAM. So it was slightly faster or more compute, RAM compute to deal with than the Quest 2, but for the most part, the actual architecture and everything that was built on is the same. I've been told they're planning to just transplant that chip from the XR Elite to this Focus product. And it's also important to remember that Focus products are not really consumer targeted. They're also kind of focused toward enterprise. Right. So even if you're getting a little excited about this Focus teaser, it was never really probably for consumers to begin with. But there are some kind of interesting things going on here. So I'll list off some of the other things that I've been told that this revision to Focus will have in. We'll start with the negatives, I would say. So the Focus 3 has the same optics and panels as the Vive Pro 2. It is a it's around a 2400 by 2400 LCD with a wide Fresnel lens optic.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is not going to be a pancake lens HDB from what I understand. It's basically taking that same optics, same displays, and also same controllers as well from the Focus 3, which is not too surprising because the XR Elite is also still using the Focus 3 controllers. Now, to get some of the interesting stuff out of the way, I was told that it will have DisplayPort for PC VR.
Yeah.
And they're actually really pushing that into maybe like market this device toward a little bit of the enthusiast market for people who want that feature set. And I think that's also important because usually the way HTC works is they develop something for one product line, and then the next headset they have, they usually all the work they did for whatever the muxing or whatever the tiny special sauce they can transplant into their consumer version later on. So I think if you're excited about that for this enterprise headset, but you don't want the specs of this, I think that will come to the actual headset next year. That will be more of probably a consumer focus or a prosumer focus with the newer chip. There was one more thing that the chip or the headset had. What was it? It was one more. Oh god, I'm gonna have to look up my own tweet.
It had like eye tracking.
Oh yeah, built-in eye tracking. That's it. Yep, integrated eye tracking. Before the Focus 3, you had to buy a little thing to slot in to add eye tracking, kind of similar to the one in the XR Elite. But they finally decided that, hey, we want to standardize eye tracking for at least our enterprise customers. So those are the two, I guess, positives for this device. It's eye tracking built in day one, and the display port in and connection to a PC for those who want that. And it should work with all the Focus 3 accessories as well because it's got the same form factor. So it's a device.
So it's essentially, if I'm following correctly here, this is a Quest Pro, but you're trading your pancake lenses for a DisplayPort. Is that pretty close to accurate?
I would say it's like a standalone Vive Pro 2, actually, because because it's not using. I think Quest Pro, they got really good lenses in that. So I don't really want to like degrade the Quest Pro that much to compare it to the optics. I did not like the optics in the Vive Pro 2 or the Focus 3. They're a little wonky, but I guess the enterprise customers like it because they're sticking with it. Again, I think it's just like I like to say it's like a Vive Pro 2 that you can either plug to your PC or you can use as standalone. I think it's a better way to
That's the one thing that made me interested in it, was that display port on there, because a lot of people are a lot of people want that. PC VR, at least in our community, is kind of the been the area of interest for about the last 6 months for gamers and enthusiasts, um, because of primarily because of the Prey Dog Universal Unreal mod. This is what everybody wants to do, is play these AAA games in VR. So people are building computers, and they want, if they can avoid using Link, they would like to, because I mean Link's great for like native VR games, but if you're dealing with mods and stuff that already kind of have some kind of artifacts in the image, then that compression can really serve to amplify that. So people want the display port now. So that kind of is what really got my attention with this Valve headset. I was wondering if, if the price would be affordable enough, if this could be a viable option for people. But from the sounds of it, this is probably going to be their standard prosumer headset. Is probably going to land around $1,500 somewhere, if I had to guess, right?
Yeah, the Focus 3 retailed around $1,300. They tried to stop consumers from buying it. They mostly tried to target toward business. I don't think they're going to stop people. It's still going to be like, they're still going to advertise it as enterprise headset, but I think, from my understanding, is they're really going to like let whoever wants to buy it, and they're trying, like, let's be honest here, like, we all know HTC, like, they cannot compete with these Goliaths that are now making hardware. They just can't.
Right.
They can't compete on a one-to-one level. So they kind of have to do some mini pivots here and there to stay relevant. And I mean, that's something to try to get some people to come back to their side. I just don't think this will be the headset that will really do it. And again, next year, I'm told next year they'll have the XR2 Plus Gen 2 HMD, whatever that is. Now here's the problem with that. For my, I know that it's gonna be crazy for some people, but Qualcomm has already been shipping samples of the next generation XR2 chips already to people since earlier this year. So like, it's within the realm of possibility that we'll get like an XR2 Gen 3 announcement sometime next year, and that would be really kind of funny if a HTC headset finally released with the Gen 2 Plus or whatever, and then bam, that happens. So we'll see.
Seems like I think that seems like they're typically, that's how they've been, right? They're like one step behind, and it kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
They are competing with Meta, Pico, and now Samsung for the first chips that come off the line. There's only so many limited volumes for these things, and I mean, yeah, it's still even hard to get the XR2 Gen 2, like the standard edition in Quest 3, unless you're Pico or Meta. So
I just want a PC VR headset, obviously with DisplayPort, but I want a PC VR headset. I miss like the Rift S, and like I don't want standalone. I could care less. I couldn't care less. I just don't. This one would be fine for standalone. I just want an actual PC VR headset that connects to the PC, was made for PC, and I think it's going to be more optimized in a sense for it than having to worry about. Like, my biggest gripe with this Quest, with the Link and all that, is it's still draining my battery. What the fuck is it using my battery for when it's connected to the PC? Like, why? Like, why is it even a thing? That's just so weird to me.
I've actually had really good luck with my Quest 3 over the last 4 to 6 weeks or whatever it's been since I started using it again. My Link cable has been 100% faithful. It has worked every time I've tried to use it, and my battery stays full while I'm gaming. I haven't lost any battery at all with it. So
maybe
I don't know what they've done.
And maybe they've changed it, and that would be nice. I haven't really noticed battery level, so maybe that's not an issue anymore.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. They really improved a lot of things about the device and the mixed reality, and like a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipe for them. But speaking of,
I'm sorry, just real quick, because I saw in chat someone was like kind of like DisplayPort is. I mean, it's going to be compressed. I should clarify. It'll be DisplayPort over USB-C, so it will be able to transfer both data and
Right.
like what you would do with a PC headset. I'm guessing they would probably have to have like some sort of breakout box to fully support that, and that might be an accessory. I'm not really sure yet, but it should be as what you expect from a PC VR experience that is not through USB 3.0 or whatever only.
Yeah, I mean, they've got this stuff to the point now where it'll probably just be built into the cable. You'll probably have a power cord that offshoots from a tiny little box that's built right onto the cable, but that's just speculation. I have no idea. But what I suspect they're doing there, HTC, the one place where they've kind of kept a bit of the market is in enterprise, like a lot of like colleges and universities and businesses and like VR arcades. They like to use the Focus. So I imagine what this refresh is all about is just trying to retain some of that market. Like they're probably losing ground to other manufacturers now since there's a lot more choice in the market, and they probably just want to refresh their Focus line so that they can
one
maybe
more thing
mitigate
as
some of that.
well.
Yeah.
It also, of course, has color cameras and a depth sensor as well, just like the XR Elite. Actually,
Yeah.
XR Elite only had one camera. This will have one per eye and the depth sensor. So that is one more thing that I'm sure enterprise customers now want, because I mean, we can see that's the new hotness, right, in XR. So, yeah.
Yeah. Mixed reality is the feature of the generation, and these generations don't last for very long. So I imagine we're going to see a lot from MR over the next 12 to 18 months. So you're absolutely right about that. But kind of sticking with PCVR for a moment, and people's desire to have a PCVR headset that's affordable, that plugs into DisplayPort. That kind of leads into our next topic, oddly enough, PlayStation VR 2. I found out some time ago that Sony is, in fact, or has been, making profit on these. They're not, we speculated that maybe they had been, putting them out at cost, and the reason they cost so much is because it just, the eye tracking stuff is that expensive, and that they're making very little profit on that. Well, that's not the case. Sony's been making profit on PSVR 2 up to this point, and we've
That's
been
bullshit.
calling for. Right. How dare they?
How
make
dare
profit?
they?
Dude, that's the state of our industry. Holy crap. You're going to make me rant. All right, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
know, right? I know. Meta ruined it for everyone. So we've been calling on them for quite some time now to drop that price. When things really started looking bad for sales, and the platform in general was kind of hinging upon maintaining some consistency with regard to sales, we've been calling for them to drop the price. And to be honest, I was expecting a price drop around Christmas this year, which would have been too late because obviously Meta's going to have a budget headset out by then. And it would have seemed totally reactionary for Sony to wait until then to drop the price. But that's what we were expecting. And the reason why I was expecting this is because I knew PC support was coming in August, and I expected them to milk those PC VR gamers for that extra $100 to $200 of profit until that kind of wave evened out, and then they would look at cutting the price. But they've actually, they're being proactive for the first time in a long time, and ahead of PC support, just a couple of weeks ahead of PC support. Sony has now significantly cut the price on PSVR 2. It is $350 or 350 pounds in the UK. It's on sale worldwide. Brad, how viable of an option is this, or do you suspect that it will be? I know it's kind of hard to speculate because we haven't seen how the support's going to be yet. But essentially, you have a 2K per eye OLED headset here that's going to work through DisplayPort for less than the cost of a current Quest headset, significantly less than what it would cost to get a Quest 3 right now. Do you think this is a proposition that might entice some PC gamers to pick one up?
I think this might only okay, this is my opinion, but I think it only really entices people who have both a PC and a PSV or a PS5. Really, I don't. I'm not fully convinced that anyone who wants to dip their toes into PC VR is going to buy this device just for that. I think they probably already bought a different device by now for that. But
Maybe,
at this
maybe,
price point,
or
yeah.
or maybe like maybe they. I mean, I guess that you're probably right for the most part. Most of them probably already have quests, right? Most of them probably already have quests. But if I mean the person is particularly educated and knows that they want a DisplayPort headset, and they don't want to deal with link and compression and all that comes with streaming. Um, I think this. I mean, I don't expect it to do gangbusters or anything, but $350 is fucking cheap, dude. Are you gonna buy another one?
I'm still holding off. I was tempted. I will say I was tempted just from like more of a like, huh. Just kind of, it's a curious proposition for me, honestly. Like again, like you said, the thing that's stopping me is like you said, we don't really know how good the drivers are, and I've seen companies. I've heard that this they basically had a skeleton crew basically build these drivers for PC. So I'm a little like on the eerie side right now. But if it comes out and people are like, oh, we could do this in the future, we can possibly access the eye tracking stuff. Like as soon as someone says that, I'll probably pick one up personally.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The features, which I guess somebody was posted something in the Discord saying that the controllers somebody's got the controllers to work with wirelessly, right? Adaptive triggers, or was that not true? Did you see that
I don't
post?
know. I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it was in the Discord. Somebody had posted a Twitter post that they were talking about it. I'm sure Looper probably knows about it. I think he may have even commented on it.
I know a bunch of Linux thirds have gotten quite a fair amount of features working for the PS4 2 already on PC, but it's a lot of hoops to jump through for sure.
So this is my thought on it. Now somebody coming into PCVR that doesn't watch channels like this, don't know anything about it. There's no way they're getting this thing because they don't even know about it. They probably, if they're looking into PCVR, this is a PlayStation headset, and the fact that it can have an adapter and it's gonna be able to play PC. This isn't until it comes out and it's like really good. Like Brad said, you got eye tracking, you got maybe. Who knows? Even if it just looks really good with the OLED and picture and everything, and word starts spreading how good it is, and the price is reasonable. Maybe it stays at 350 because we don't even know, right? This could be a sale price. This could be permanent. They haven't really said. They'll probably take it back up. But either way, there's just so many good headsets. Like even Brad, I'm like, hey, you're curious about it, but like you've got really good headsets. You know what I mean? Like the big screen, I want that thing. I talk about OLED. So I don't think this is going to be the end all of headsets. I think it's exactly what Brad said. Somebody that's got a PlayStation 5 wants to get into, and maybe even already has a headset, wants to get into PC. This is perfect. You already have it. You already got the headset.
That's definitely. I can tell you right now that that's definitely happening. This might not cause a wave of people with PCs to go buy PlayStation headsets, but it's definitely causing a wave of people with PlayStations to build PCs. We see it in our own community. And what it is, it's really a unique situation where people bought into the PSVR 2 platform because they believed that this will be the first time that a company really pushes mainstream AAA games to a VR platform. That's what they were expecting from Sony. And PlayStation catalog is great. There's some of the best games ever already on that headset. but it has not lived up to what most people expected it to be. But at the same time, the thing that people wanted PlayStation VR2 to be is happening on PC right now because
Right.
of the Prey Dog mod. People are playing uh, Sony titles in VR on PC because of modding, and all of the big Unreal games that come out, most of them work pretty well with the Prey Dog mod. You do have to have a beefy computer for some of them, but they work.
And
And
we're getting into an age where, like somebody said, the 5000 series comes out. It's going to be that much more powerful. The 4000 is going to be more, like, we're right on the edge of everybody being able to potentially have a better graphics card, right? Like, even if you can't afford it now, it's going to start pushing things down. The graphics cards are going to become more 3000s and above, and then we're going to start getting out of this box of performance, right? So,
Yeah.
but I will say one thing that I see, somebody in the chat was saying, they were asking if we thought the PlayStation VR2 catalog would come over the PC, and this is where I think it would come, and this is how you would get the PC people in, is you have those games exclusive start coming over to PC, but you have to use this headset, and I guarantee that happens. And so now you've got a whole new audience of people on the PC, but they still have to buy it from Sony, and they can only play it with this headset, and then it makes people want to get the headset. And now you've got two platforms you can use your headset on, and you actually have all your exclusives there as well. I think it'll be interesting to see if that happens or not, but I think it will, but maybe there's reasons why it can't that I'm not aware of. So
The space I'm actually pretty interested in right now, which relates kind of to VR, is I've been watching the mini PC space quite a bit, and there's been like a lot of amazing developments there. When I say mini PC, I mean like they come in a lot of form factors now, but Steam Deck is obviously a mini PC and a handheld form factor, but they have like very small consoleized PCs that are usually like AMD APUs, and like I interesting thing, because we talk about how this is cheaper, but it doesn't really solve the problem of PCs getting cheaper, right? Like and like accessible to run VR on. I think Valve could do something there if they really wanted to get all those quests and stuff.
Yes and no, right? You can run VR on a pretty. I mean, you can get a $600 computer that runs most native VR games on medium settings. Like that's completely I mean, VR still runs on a 1080 Ti. You know what I mean? Like most games still will run well on that. The problem is that that's not what people are coming in here for. People were coming over to run flat games in VR, and that takes a lot of horsepower.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it'll be interesting. I think. I think people in VR should watch the mini PC space in the next year, personally. But yeah. Anyway.
You say that like you know something, Brad.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Video coming out in 7 months. No, just kidding.
Anyway, I think to kind of wrap up this talk around PlayStation VR, I think it's a good thing for the headset and for the ecosystem at the same time. I agree. I don't see PSVR 2s taking over the Steam VR scene anytime soon. I think they're going to dwarf Pimax on day one, most likely. And I think that there will be a considerable bump in sales, not just because of PC, but because of the price. I think that some PC users are going to buy these because it's so cheap. I think some PS5 gamers that haven't gotten into VR yet, that don't have PC, I think that those people are going to finally jump in on PSVR 2, again, because the price is so low. I just hope that Sony sustains it. I hope that they, the sale doesn't go away as quickly as it came, and then it's back up to $500 and $600 again, because that'll just kill all the
top
momentum.
selling on Amazon or something since they've lowered the price or something. That's a pretty big. Yeah. That's a pretty big breath of fresh air for the platform, I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of PlayStation gamers that have been waiting on the price to come down. I mean, a lot of people want to play Gran Turismo and Resident Evil and Horizon in VR. They just didn't want to pay more for the headset than they paid for the console. That's been kind of the tagline since it came out, is it costs more than the console costs. Um, I have friends that I know that have been lifelong PlayStation gamers that have never been VR gamers that want PSVR 2 and have just not jumped in yet because of the price of it. So I imagine that this is going to be very enticing for those people. And if they can maintain this price going into the holiday season, it should be a pretty good year for VR. Because not only do we have like affordable Sony hardware now, but things are happening with Meta. And I mean, the Meta VR space is just been something to behold over the last few months. Because before we get into kind of the future headsets, Brad, Quest 3, in terms of functionality and capability, um, they've been pretty noticeably trying to play catch up since Apple Vision Pro hit the market. Have you noticed that as well?
Yeah, and like it's not even like as how do I say? It's not as sporadic anymore either. It seems like they actually have a pretty focused timeline of updates internally based on how things are coming together. I still think there's a lot of messiness with the OS, but they've definitely I don't know. I guess I can like say, and I'm not trying to be like jerky about it, but like I'm glad Vision Pro came out because it showed Meta what they should be working
Right.
toward a bit, and it's really just paid off well. I think it's great because there's a lot of people who want the concept of Vision Pro, and now there's a lot of that stuff's coming over to Quest 3 in a more affordable factor, so they can think about these concepts a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like they're pivoting on every front. Like laws that used to be like unthinkable that they would ever go against. It seems like they're pretty much trashing all of their old kind of philosophy here and becoming a more open platform. I don't want to call it open because it isn't a genuinely open platform, but they're becoming a more open platform now, and kind of embracing a lot of like the 2D functionality, the sort of stuff that Vision Pro does really well. They're starting to develop around that, and then they're opening up their ecosystem to other hardware manufacturers, which I think is going to be a huge thing in a year to 2 years. It's like they know they're not ready to put out their competitor yet for Vision Pro in that line of products, but that they're going to let they're going to let Asus and LG and all of these other companies kind of do that for them, which I think is smart, and it's great for consumers. It's great for consumers that we're about to have that kind
I
of
think it's
competition going
great
on.
for consumers, but I think I my hot take is I think those companies that are doing this are going to regret it actually over time. I think it's great that they have the opportunity, but as we saw with PSVR 2, like you were just talking about how they were not selling them subsidized, right? They were selling them for profit. These
Right.
companies that partner with Meta are going to have to sell their headsets at a profit because they don't get any money from software sales from the platform itself. At
Oh,
least
that's
Sony
an
even.
interesting point.
Exactly. So what I think is going to happen, and we already have a timeline even for Quest 4 where people are talking about, I think these headsets are going to come out. There's going to be a lot of competition all around. We got Samsung, we got the Apple cheaper headset coming out. We got, I mean, they still have to compete. These headsets, this is the root of the problem. These headsets have to even compete against the Meta Horizon subsidized headsets as well. So
Right.
you're kind of
Right.
like, both sides are looking at the proposition here where it's like, okay, well, I can buy a headset that's already on my phone platform that I use every day and value and get all of my stuff on there. Or I can buy a Meta Quest that is subsidized, cheap, has most of these features, even though it's not going to be probably as high end as some of these things. But I don't know. I'm very skeptical that this program is going to work out for Meta, and it feels Yeah, I'll stop talking there.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be such a bad thing for Meta, but you're right. It might not be such a good thing for these partners slash competitors because they're going to have to offer something that Meta doesn't offer. And if there's one thing that I know about Meta is that if you're offering something that people want, they're just going to take it and do it themselves anyway. Like you won't own that space for very long.
Yeah, but Meta's
I
not
think.
magic though. They put out, there's something wrong with every fucking one of their headsets. There's things they could
Oh yeah.
improve. And
Oh, for
so
sure.
this is the thing. These people that are putting out these headsets, yeah, they're going to have to charge more. Just make them good. I'll pay more. And I don't even know because it's still going to be attached to Meta because I was just saying Ghost Shot says what's the alternative? And I said my alternative is not Meta. It doesn't matter what they fucking put out. I'm not going there. Fuck you, Meta. I don't want it. So maybe one of these headsets, but I don't even care about their operating system. I just don't care. They've turned me off to them, and I say good luck, and I'll stick with Valve or somebody else. There's a lot of other companies that know what they're doing. Meta's not the only one.
So the Quest Pro was a colossal failure for Meta. Like, we all know that. Like, that's common sense at this point. We expect a third party to do Quest Pro better, right? It's I don't know. I think it's really gonna be painful for these companies. They'll get a few sales. They'll get some people, but I think they're gonna be like.
Where I think they're going to struggle. Well, I mean, I do think that there will be a small market for some of these companies and some of these products. It will be people like Ruuts. It will be enthusiasts that you're selling to because they're going to be able to offer things that Meta don't offer. Things like DisplayPort, things like expandable memory so that you can kind of put your own SD card or whatever in there and operate as memory. People don't like the battery being built into the visor. They can maybe offer some kind of a puck type power delivery system. There are areas of opportunity to improve on Meta's design, and I think enthusiasts will buy into that. Where I think they're going to struggle is in the things that they're not offering, the things that Meta has. Reaching Meta's level of quality with the lenses and with general like controller tracking software and algorithm, all of this stuff that Meta has literally invested in billions into developing the software and buying the companies that produce these components. I think that these companies might struggle a bit on that level. So, they're definitely going to be able to offer things Meta don't. The question is, are they going to be able to offer the things that Meta does offer? And that will be interesting to see as time goes on. It's almost time for Quest 3S, Brad. And, well, I guess we should just start with what we expect this to be. I know we've talked about this before, and I think we all have a pretty good idea. But this essentially is going to be a Quest 3 with Fresnel lenses. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I think that's Quest 3 with Fresnel lenses and Quest 2 panels. Pretty fair point.
Okay, so it's going to be a little bit of a downgrade in terms of overall resolution.
Yeah, I'll have the single panel again, just like Quest 2.
Right. So a Quest 2 with Quest 3 guts.
And controllers as well.
And the controllers, you're getting the new controllers without the ring, and you're getting the, obviously the standalone, I guess, or the pass-through, right? But you don't get the depth sensor, right? That's not there. Or is it? I thought I read in this article that it wasn't there.
They have 2 IR emitters, but it's not really. We're not sure if they're for depth sensing or to like make hand tracking better yet. Basically, that's from what I understand. So.
Right, so for now, and it's got, I don't know, to me, because the article said it's not much worse than the Quest 3, and The pancake lenses are the best thing about the headset, and you're not getting the resolution bump. The only thing this has is the newer chip and the
And mixed
controllers
reality.
and the
Mixed
mixed
reality.
well, the mixed reality as far as the I mean, I guess if you're coming from a Quest 2, but I mean, I don't know. I just I'm not that impressed with these stats. I guess for people coming in, I think the best thing about the headset to me, or about the Quest Pro, is the lenses, and to gloss over that is just kind of disingenuous for this article. Whoever wrote it, to me, I feel like that was that statement was kind of bullshit. Just
Right.
saying. So.
Again, though, we need to keep in mind what this product is. Like the Quest 3 is already on the market. If you want all of this stuff with high resolution panels and pancake lenses, that's there. You can get that already. What this product is trying to do is to bring the rest of the last generation along. The people out there who are sticking with their Quest 2s, because up until now, Quest 2 plays all the same games and has all of the same software except for the mixed reality stuff. Meta's ready to move on. They're ready to fully utilize the power in that new chip, and they can't do that while they're dragging along Quest 2. And it's very obvious that a lot of people aren't willing to go drop $600 to buy a Quest 3 right now. So, enter this headset, which isn't as good as a Quest 3, but in many ways, like the article points out, it's very similar, and it's going to be much cheaper.
I think the only thing that you're really getting out of this, and you just nailed it, is you can play their exclusives that they locked you out of. That's a good point. Because now that they locked everybody out, and then they now released another headset, and and don't get me wrong, for some of the things that they're going to do, I guarantee they'll need to have done that, but I'm not convinced that every game couldn't have been, that the Quest 2 was really holding it back. I think it's holding their finances back. This is more money. It's another headset. It's getting the other people that couldn't afford that $550, but now you're going to pay $350, or what is it, $3 or $350?
Well, we don't know yet. But we need to point out that most of the money that Meta makes is from software sales. It isn't from selling these headsets.
It's still coming out of people's pockets. So I don't know. That's just the way I feel about it, and that's not changing. So.
I think it'll be very interesting to see how this does compared to Quest 2 in general. Like,
yeah, Townsman is only on Quest 3. Exactly,
yeah,
Looper.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, because obviously the reason why they're doing this is they want to sell the public on mixed reality, right? That's the point. That's the point of the generation. But they're not going to be able to do that. Like, they could make the hardware as cheap as they want, but until they have those killer apps out there, those killer mixed reality apps, get out there and get viral the way that Beat Saber got viral for VR 5 years ago, then they're not going to win people over on it, and people are just going to keep playing their Quest 2s. So, I agree. It's going to be an interesting experiment to see if it's only price that's holding people back, or is it the fact that most of this MR stuff is, as cool as it is like tech demo, early version type stuff.
What do you guys feel about the? I haven't looked at it, but have you guys checked out the new? They changed the mobile app for Meta Quest to Meta Horizon. Is it now?
I haven't looked at it. I haven't looked at it since they changed it. I did read that.
It's kind of interesting because for my sounds like they're really pushing the their social VR platform even more than games with the new changes to the app, which is kind of it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of predictable. We know that that's their end game, and it has been all along. But the last time they pivoted away from gaming, it went disastrously for them. So, yeah, it is kind of interesting if they're starting to do that again. That is interesting to make note of. But yeah, I mean, that's the end goal. That's what they want to happen. They want people basically to live their lives and socialize in the metaverse. Let them get that oh so precious data on everyone. But yeah, I don't think we're ready for that yet. Not fully. Now, the day will come, and I think that's why we're already starting to see talk about Quest 4. You know, it's like Quest 3 just got here. We're about to get another Quest 3, and we're already starting to hear leaks about Quest 4 coming next year. And I think that the that much like the Quest 1 gave way to the popular headset Quest 2, I think that Quest 3 is really going to just serve as a bridge to the next generation of VR, where mixed reality actually gets really good and has some utility, but we also get headsets that on the low end have eye and facial tracking in them, and on the high end have codec avatars and varifocal lenses. Um, well, anyway, that's what my expectation is of the next generation of Quest. Is that what you're expecting from it, Brad?
So I think it's good to recap like the news here a little bit first. So yeah, 2026. Not only they're planning to launch a Quest 4, but they want to launch a Quest 4S or a lighter edition at the same time, a cheaper edition, which is different from what they're doing now. Obviously, Quest 3
Right.
launched last year. This year, Quest 3S later this year, which I think it's pretty interesting. Not even just from like here's I have speculation here because I really feel if Meta launched the Quest 3S and the Quest 3 at the same time last year, even though the Quest 3 has better lenses, I think the Quest 3 wouldn't have sold that well. Frankly, I think most people who are wanting to dip their toes into a better experience over the Quest 2 probably would just go for 3S. It just seems like that's the market right now for that. I think the people that buy Quest 3 are a little bit more enthusiast members of the community that know they're going to stick around VR for a while. So when I see them doing this in 2026, I almost wonder if they want to push prices up for like the regular tier Quest 4, because $200 difference or so doesn't really afford you too much difference in terms of capabilities, and especially if they even do stuff like, hey, maybe the Quest 4S will have pancake lenses finally, because I think by that time the optics should be way cheap to get. And if you have pretty much the same form factor profile, same lenses as the others, I don't know. I think they would have to bump up Quest 4 to be a little bit more enthusiast here, a little more expensive, and then keep the Quest 4S there at a lower price as well. And then
So what do you think? What do you think will be the defining feature then that sets the full 4 apart from the 4S? Do you think it'll be something like a micro OLEDs, or do you think
No.
it'll be some other type of feature?
I still don't believe that Quest 4S will have eye tracking. I think Quest 4 might. I think that will be a pretty big difference. I think they might try to push more. I think they'll push more for the resolution, of course, as well. But I think they have to do more. I haven't really thought too much about it, but I do think there has to be a bit more feature parity if you launch two headsets at the same time, is what I'm saying, and I just don't think you can do that at $200 difference.
So the difference then between a Quest 3 and a 4S, strictly compute chipset?
No, I think they'll want to do the same. I think they'll want to use the same chips as well. Like it seems dangerous for them because they're in 2 years, people are gonna be complaining about the chip in Quest 3 by that time, right? They're gonna be complaining that devs can't target Quest 4 or Quest 4S because they need to target all the people on Quest 3 and Quest 3S chip. It'd be a very bad idea for them, I think, to not have both of those units with the new generation of chip as well.
That's what I was saying. The difference between Quest 3 and Quest 4S would be the chipset then, right?
Oh yeah.
If it's not going to have eye tracking, the upgrade would be the chipset, and then from 4S to 4 would be eye and face tracking, and then the Pro 2, which is the other kind of end of the equation, that's expected to be a high end headset that really competes with the Vision Pro line. I'm sorry, Roots, I stepped on something you were trying to say there.
That's all right. I don't even remember, to be honest.
Yeah.
And from my I've heard, because like, even though it's still 3 years away before Meta's comfortable to release a Apple Vision Pro competitor, they still seem to be targeting even higher price than Quest Pro launching. So I think it's another kind of like reason for me to believe that, hey, they might push the base Quest 4 to be a bit higher price, because even the Quest Pro 2, when it comes out, might be even higher than $1,500, and maybe the 2,000 range, which a lot of this low end, high end, like Samsung, Apple, non-pro, all seem to be targeting around that $2,000 mark. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think that you're right about that. I think that it's at least going to be $2,000, and I think these kind of mid-range. It's kind of weird that 2K is the mid-range. I think that that's going to be the kind of the sweet spot in terms of luxury, right? Like most people aren't going to go drop $4 and $5 grand on these Apple headsets, but if they could get something in that 2K range that has a lot of that functionality, and in Meta's case, probably is going to have features that are unique to it, things we talked about earlier, like codec avatars and varifocal lenses. Do you think we'll have varifocal by Quest Pro 2? We're starting to see it pop up in the news a bit more, just as it's kind of making its way into the software updates on the Quest.
Yeah, I think this is just speculation, but I wouldn't be shocked if they prioritize it, and they're gonna prioritize it. This is what I think. All right, 2027 will be a big year for high-end VR hardware. Vision Pro 2, like the true Vision Pro successor, is expected to come out that year. I think they're going to focus heavily on the displays in Vision Pro 2. Whereas Meta, I think they're going to focus heavily on the optics more than the displays in their Quest Pro 2. Everything they've been kind of hinting at and talking about in public and some other things is, I do think they will try to get varifocal to market like as their main thing, right? We're gonna get that first, and I think they will probably push for LCD technology to make that easier for them. So that's my speculation there.
I hope you're right. And then I'm not saying that I'll ever go out and buy a 2 gig headset, but who knows? By that point, maybe I will. But this is a feature I've been the most excited for since Michael Abrash started talking about it all those years ago. By the way, Abrash was a guest on Boz's podcast this past week, and I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm sure that that's a very interesting listen for anyone who's interested. Go look it up. What do you think, Roots? Is that going to entice you? We're talking years down the line here. A legit Meta Quest Pro that isn't so much a beta test for mixed reality like this one was, but has legit features that you can only get there, and finally has the varifocal that we've been waiting all these years for.
I don't know. Like I was saying to the chat earlier, or the Discord earlier today, about how I felt about games 5 years ago. I could feel differently. Right now, I feel burned by Meta, so I don't know that I could trust them again on a Pro model. And then people could give me all the reasons why this next time is going to be different. But, you know, whatever the reasons are, whatever that people can explain it, they're still not supporting their games not too long after this one came out that I bought. And I even got it at a discount. So, but, you know, I do want varifocal lenses. I think it will be a thing. I was going to say, what are your thoughts on the, I don't know, they blew it this time, but like, wouldn't it make more sense, since they want to push on, these are standalone headsets, let's not make the eye tracking a price point thing. Put it in both. Put it in the S. Put it in the other. Let's make eye tracking a standard. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? Like, they're trying to do everything they can do to squeeze every performance out, but then let's leave out a headset. You know what I mean? Like, I think eye tracking, it would be a no-brainer. Skimp on something else. You've already skimped on the lenses. You can find something else. Raise each one of them $100. I don't know. To me, that needs to happen. But that's just
I
my
think it's
personal opinion.
also important, not even just like foveated rendering, but like if you're meta and you want to do something like varifocal, you really need a lot of people to train that eye tracking data for the
True.
varifocal to work well. And you're not, I mean, yeah, they can constantly, they can do what they do normally, their dog fooding where they bring people in, like maybe 1,000 people to train a model. But that's nothing compared to if you imagine a Quest 3S type headset. All the people, day one, they set up their eye tracking. All that data gets sent to their server so they can train better eye tracking for features like varifocal. It's very important for that. It's very important for that. Even the headset I'm wearing here, day one, the eye tracking was good, but I remember there was like a 1.2 update or something where we data mined that they updated some of the eye tracking models, and it was noticeable. Like all the people that bought the headset are basically training even Apple's future hardware too. So you got to think about from that perspective as well.
That's a good point.
It's hard. It's hard to Roots. It's hard to even wrap our head around what the state of AI is going to be in 2026, and it's just 2 years, but it's moving so fast right now. Um, I got to imagine that AI-driven features will be commonplace on that next generation of standalone headsets.
Yeah. Yeah. No, AI is coming to everything. And I think the AI is exactly what you said, Brad. It's going to be training everything. So, it's the future. So I would imagine that's going to be a big thing for sure.
Um, One more thing before we let you go, Brad. We've already kind of touched on it a little bit, but we are going to have some more competition in the standalone space this year from Western companies, not just from China. Um, as Google is looking to launch its own platform to compete with what is now known as the Meta Horizon platform. Um, I mean, obviously, Meta's move to become an open platform is a direct reaction to this and a way to kind of squash it before it happens. Um, do you think that they're going to be successful with that? Do you think that Google and Samsung and whoever else that they're going to partner with have any shot at gaining any kind of market share in this sector?
I think they're going to be I think it's going to be a very slow burn. I don't think they're going to be that successful. I think if they stick to it, they will be successful. But I think if they treat this industry the way Apple is, I think they'll do very well, basically. What I mean is Apple's, they're not selling a ton of these headsets, right? Obviously.
Right.
But they're selling enough to kind of like stake their ground and like kind of strengthen not just the platform on the headset, but their entire ecosystem of products. If Samsung and Google can just do that over time slowly and comfortably without canning the program, I think they'll do fine in the long term.
That's a big ask from Google, though, right?
It is a really big ask, and there's rumors that really they didn't want to do too much until Samsung basically said, "Hey, we wanted to do something," and Google decided to jump in because they didn't actually want Samsung going to Meta to use Horizon OS. There's some murmurs about that on Twitter recently. So that is always a thing you have to worry about with Google. But I think there is genuine benefits to, even though these things aren't really mobile, like they're not really like, the smartphone replacement or whatever, but just the ability to have a whole, even just a smartphone ecosystem tied to a headset that you wear at home, there's so much benefits out of it where you can just kind of build the products in parity with each other. You can do stuff like put 3D cameras on your phone and capture memories. Like I think that's
Yeah, that's
genuinely a
awesome.
valuable thing. It's great. It's really great, and I only Google and Samsung can do that. Meta can't really do that stuff. But yeah, it's good. Samsung's doing a lot of actually. Samsung's doing a lot of investments on the hardware side, so I'm not worried about Samsung. It's just the Google stuff that's scary.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if Samsung really regrets partnering with Google now, and if they had known the way things were going to go, if they would have just held off and done what everyone else was doing and put out a Horizon headset. But we'll
I
see,
think
man. There's so many um, aspects to this, as we try to kind of map out what we think the next few years are going to look at. Like, there's so many wild cards that are going to play into it that we're not even considering. We talked about AI and the impact that that's going to have on everything, but there's other emerging technologies as well. There's the cloud, which I
Mm,
think is going to factor significantly into especially the gaming end of things with Meta.
yeah.
There's AR, like we talk about MR, but they're you know their end goal are AR glasses. That's what they want to work toward, and we're already seeing companies jockeying for position in that market when it becomes a prominent thing 5 to 10 years from now. Um,
What about Wally Game Cat, specifically a white tiger? Yeah, it says with a donation $5 for Canadian dollars donation says new headsets every couple of years adversely impact game dev and standardization. PSVR2 is probably a 6 year life. Already in 2 years into the is becoming the standard. So I guess basically what my question is, what do you think about that in the mix as well? Because they are. I mean, these headsets are now starting to pick up pace. The life cycle
so
is less, and it's going to start affecting developers, right? If you're constantly having to switch all these different features for new headsets coming out, and
I
so Waleed's comment specifically is referring to dynamic foveated rendering and eye tracking. I think he's trying to back up what you were saying earlier about Meta needing to integrate that feature in their Quest 4 because it's already becoming such a useful thing
no, I
in
gotcha.
console VR. Um, but it's a definitely a good point in terms of standalone, right? Like is the short life cycle helping, or is it hurting, or is it both?
Yeah, I think both.
I I actually have two comments about this. But one thing I was gonna say before this was I think there is everyone talks about how like oh Meta there's a huge advantage to Meta, and there is for them spending tons of what a decade building out this platform and stuff and getting it to where it is. There is a benefit to that, but there's also like a late movers benefit as well. The people that kind of just sit there in the background, these big tech companies, and watch and see what Meta does that worked and what Apple does that works and what both companies do that doesn't work, and then they just kind of build out their thing. And when they launch, there's no like stigma around what I. No one thought of the metaverse stuff when Apple released, right? They tried to coin wearing a headset as this new thing that fits into people's lifestyle, and they could do that because they slowly did their stuff in the background and built something out for that, and it's working for what they're trying to do. And I think a lot of companies are also doing the same, um, including Samsung and Google. Even though again, Google did not dedicate until more recently, but they had a small skeleton crew working on things, and there's a lot of big tech companies as well in the background that are you'd be shocked to find out that they are also building this stuff in the background and watching what's happening. It's crazy. So and also don't. My other thing I wanted to say is there's a lot of companies that also don't really are not really into this for the gaming perspective as well. So like
Right.
there's that side of it. You also have to kind of keep aware. I know that's kind of weird for some people. Like, why would you put on a headset for anything other than gaming? But there is that market building slowly as well.
Yeah, definitely for Meta and many of these companies, gaming is just a means to an end. It's the carrot that's intended to get the early adopters in so that they can, like you mentioned earlier, get that data and iterate and improve. They already tried to pivot off of it once, and it proved to be way too early for that. The most of the VR ecosystem wants gaming, and it's going to be that way for some time. But you're absolutely right that I think that these companies that can't leave gaming behind quickly enough to get to
Mm.
what their true end game is, and that is a more utilitarian device that you can do a lot of different things in, and like basically like a smartphone or a laptop, right? You can do gaming's one thing you can do, but there's so many other things,
Or
right, that you use it for.
even just media consumption, right? Like gaming
Yeah.
is such a small niche of people. Like we feel like it's everybody, but it's such a small amount of people. Everybody consumes media in some form or fashion, whether it be YouTube, Netflix, and even if you just had it as a media headset, that's all you did. And it was geared towards that. And it was very fine tuned towards it. Like it just definitely, I think there's, like Brad said, there's a lot of people out there that have been kind of watching what these big companies have been doing, the mistakes they're making, and they're kind of formulating what they're going to do and bring out. And I look forward to it, because there's a lot of companies out there that I think know more about displays than Meta. Meta might have fine tuned the ASW on a lot of different software issues, things, but like they're not the end all of displays. And so, that's why I was looking at the Beyond, and I might get the Beyond in a few months when I get more money, because I'm looking for a better headset. So,
There you go. One more thing, Brad, before I cut you loose. I know I already said that once, but it wouldn't be right of me to invite you here and not at least give you the opportunity to speak a little bit about the mythical Valve Deckard and any kind of copium that you might be able to share with all of us. Because the only reason that we're even talking about Quest 4 or PSVR on PC or any of this stuff is because we're also disheartened that we don't have Deckard yet.
Late mover advantage. There's
There you go.
there's building a lot of stuff too, and yeah, can't. I'm not comfortable sharing what I've recently
I
found,
see.
but they're still cooking. It's yeah, it's hard. It's like someone said in chat. It's hard to build out complete ecosystem thing for this and really make it special without going back to certain stigmas as well. I do want to talk about two more things, real quick, because since
Sure,
we're
yeah,
kind
go for it.
of, we didn't talk about Pico. Pico's making a headset.
That's true. We did
I don't
not.
think anyone's gonna care when it comes out. To be honest,
Right.
I've heard I've talked to people who've tried it. They don't understand why Pico's releasing it. That is the standalone headset you buy if you just hate Meta, and that's it. Like that's really what it's gonna be. But
Roots.
otherwise,
Roots. There you go, bro. Get yourself a Pico, bro. Hey, for what it's worth, the hardware that they put out, they know how to make a decent headset. For real, they do. Um, their software and their store from standalone perspective cannot compete with Meta. It's nowhere near it, and they're so clueless on how to put something competitive together on that end that they're always going to have trouble competing, even if their headset turns out to be superior.
why even bother with it then? I mean, I know they've already gone down that road, but I mean, you know what I mean? If it's pretty much not a standalone headset, what are you going to play? 6 games? You know,
yeah,
it's just kind of stupid.
they're a company that's gonna release a headset that is going. I don't know how they're gonna phrase this because it's basically it's not better than a Quest 3. It's like similar to a Quest 3, but it's got none of the software or build out that Meta has for their Quest 3. So it's a really weird product. I don't understand what they're doing with it at all. I don't know if they were given some sort of ultimatum where like, hey, you got to build something, release something in a year, and we'll see if we keep you around after how that does.
Right.
But
Right.
it's I'm not
Roll the
hearing
dice, throw it out
very
there.
positive
See what-
stuff. Yeah, I do
The
want
one
to talk
thing they had
one.
going
Oh,
for
go ahead.
them, I'm sorry, the one thing they had going for them was that display port that was on the Pico 3. I have no idea why they moved away from that, because I think they could still be enticing people had they kept that one feature.
It seems that the industry is not privy that that's a big deal to people for somehow. Like, you know what I mean? Because everybody seems to, or at least the Meta, I just don't understand it, man. Give me the option anyway. Display port all the way. Or give me, Sony knows how to do USB, the same data going through it. Give me something of that nature if you really have to go through USB 3.0. So
Yeah, I don't know. Remember they're supposed to have Just Dance, but that ended up like that's coming to Meta now, right? So like they completely
Yeah.
gutted their game ecosystem team. They're trying to sell kind of like a gaming console VR headset, but they're gonna probably be pushing the MR and spatial computing stuff on it, from what I understand. And it's just, I don't think their current market is going to really care much about that. So,
Nope.
yeah. One more thing I want to talk about, because I think it's one of the things that like get me up in the morning. There was a rumor that came out about Apple contacting LG and Samsung. They did what is called a request for information for. This is like one of the first steps before they put in an order for something. They like asked the company, "Hey, could you make this for us? How much will the materials cost and all that to build the display?" And the specifications for this display was so interesting to me because it was micro OLED. That's a given, right? They're clearly going to use that display technology until the end of time. If micro LED ever comes, maybe, well, we'll see. But the big thing is they want a 2 to 2.1 inch display,
What?
which is, yes, a 2-inch micro OLED display. The only time I've seen one of those displays of that size, it's very hard to do because you have a 12-inch wafer, and you have a 12-inch wafer, you got to cut out these 2-inch diagonal chips, and if you don't yield well, then you kind of waste most of that wafer, right? Because it's such a big display on the silicon wafer. But hey, if they get that working, it'll be just like the display, almost. It's going to be lower resolution. The display I saw years ago, called the Steamboat display, that I believe Valve was really trying to also get made at some point back in the past. So Apple, thank you for pushing it, keep pushing it, so other companies can get those 2-inch micro LED. You'll be beautiful. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah, that's crazy because all of these features we've talked about in the last, I don't know, 90 minutes or whatever it is we've been going here on these topics. We've talked about everything from lenses, varifocal, and chips and everything. All these features, eye tracking, all of it. The one thing we haven't mentioned once is the one thing I think everyone wants, but no one expects, and that is more field of view. Like it's a pretty easy thing to point at and say, hey, we're still kind of looking through binoculars here. It would be great if we could see more of the world without turning our head. And we've all kind of resigned to that's not ever going to happen because the devices are just going to keep getting smaller. So we're just going to kind of have to live with it. But if they get to the point where they can make bigger micro OLED, then those two things don't have to be mutually exclusive anymore. We can still reduce the size of the hardware while increasing field of view. And it doesn't have to be Pimax level, guys. It doesn't. Like if they could achieve a solid 140, to 150, like usable FOV in a modern headset, that would be revolutionary over the 100 to 110 that we're getting right now, and even less than that in a lot of cases. So that's exciting, Brad. Thank you for sharing that.
I love micro LED, and I love the roadmap that I see happening. So yeah, it's finally happening. The roadmap's finally happening for productizations of all these things. It's beautiful. Oh, thank you for releasing a $3,500 headset and continuing to do future ones. It's the only way this happens.
It's going to be an interesting few years, isn't it? Like when we see how the market kind of reacts to everything that's happening right now. Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait to have you back on to talk about it, Brad. Thanks for staying up late and keeping your family awake and talking about all this cool tech with us. It's been too long, so let's not wait until next year to do it again, eh?
Yeah, let's bash on the products at the end of the year that came out and how it disappointed people.
Speaking of bash,
Oh,
Pimax, there's that.
Oh yeah.
hey, at least they're learning
trying,
that
right?
they shouldn't make a standalone ecosystem with like 3 tech demos and go back to their true crowd.
I read the other day that they've actually started to decrease the form factor of their headsets. They started putting out these devices that, let's be honest, were pretty decent. Like the Crystal's a pretty decent headset. It's not great, but it's got some things going for it. But it was still like massive and bulky, like the 200 field of degree headset was, the 8K or whatever. But I read the other day, I didn't read too deeply in it because it's Pimax, who cares? But I did read that the one of their products that they're working on now is a bit more confined and is closer to what we would consider normal 3 or 4 years ago. So that's something.
They're still behind the times, man. Like about what Brad, when you talked about the big screen beyond, like that's the form factor we should be going towards, not backwards. Because I once, and somebody in the chat earlier had said something about, looking forward to if they could just like have a headset connected to a Steam Deck or something. And it made me think of Wes and I talking about it 5 years ago, connecting, or I guess whenever the Quest 1 came out, about connecting it to a puck, right? Because then you don't need any of that. Like if you just have it, everything that's running it is in something that you're connected to, that you put in your pocket or something, kind of like your phone, but something more powerful. Like you could make that thing light as hell, especially with these lenses you're talking about. So I think we're not that far away from that, personally. So
I think we're gonna hit there eventually. Yeah.
Baby steps, right?
Baby steps.
yeah, baby steps. I think AI is going to make it quicker than we think, when we would ever dream. I know I say that every week, but I read articles every day about breakthroughs on shit that I never thought that they thought they could break through. And I just think it's funny how a lot of these humans are taking credit for it. And I'm like, I know what you fucking did. It was AI. You didn't discover shit. Couldn't do this last month. So.
Anyway, thanks again, Brad. I will talk to you soon. Have a good night. And yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay.
Goodbye. Ruuts, my friend, it's late and we have games to talk about. So on that note, let's get into it. Arken Age release date is coming soon, promising 10 to 15 hour campaign on PSVR 2 and PCVR. This from Scott Hayden, Road to VR. Arken Age, the upcoming single player sci fi shooter from Shadow Legend VR studio Vitruvius VR, is almost here. The team announced it's completed its first large beta test with Steam VR users and are currently sending out a second batch of codes, noting that a release date will be revealed in the next couple weeks. With it, the studio also teased a new bit of gameplay, which is linked in the article here. Slated to arrive on PSVR 2 and PCVR headsets, the single player VR adventure isn't just a sci fi shooter. The studio says it will include fully customizable melee and ranged weapons, physics based combat, boss fights, over 24 unique areas, and a 10 to 15 hour campaign. Here's how Vitruvius describes the story. Your journey begins in Celestial Custodian's Tower on the shores of the Biochasm, a terraformed realm created to harvest Arcanite energy. Its divine founder, the Grand Arborist, has ceased cultivation of your planet, and every transmission sent to him has been met with abject silence. Uncover the truth behind the disappearance of the Grand Arborist, forge alliance with the Nara alien race, and take up arms against the usurper Hyperion and his legion of corrupted soldiers. While we're still waiting on an official release date, you can wishlist the game over on Steam and PSVR 2. And of course, check out the announced trailer, which we just did. Ruuts, I can't wait to play Arken Age. Man, like this game, I know it's a different type of game, but I get such Stormland vibes every time I look at gameplay from this. The way that they kind of blend sci-fi and fantasy is pretty unique, not just to VR, but in gaming in general. I really just love the vibe of this.
Yeah, it looks super cool. I didn't even know what game it was for a minute there because I was lost in the fact that I had not switched scenes there. But yeah, GT says he's got a good point. He says, you remember Shadow Legends VR? That was a pretty advanced for its time, and this
That's
is
true.
the same developer. And that was a really good game, and that was so long ago. And so how much have they learned and done since then? And looks like a lot. 10 to 15 hour campaign, and looks like it's coming to the best of the two platforms that I actually want to play. And it's not coming to Quest though, Wes. It says, right? Just PSVR 2 and PC.
That's right. At least as of right now, that's the plan for this one. I mean, Shadow Legend, for what it's worth, never came to Quest either.
That's true.
But you're right. It was a revelation in its time. I remember when Shadow Legend came out, and people were like, "Man, this is what Skyrim should have been." The only problem with Shadow Legend was that it was like extremely short by
Right.
the standards of the time. But obviously, that's not going to be the case here. 10 to 15 hour campaign sounds great. The only thing that gives me pause is this statement that it's let me find it. Over 24 unique areas. What do they mean by that? Like, is this going to be something that takes place in like arena style areas that you're kind of jumping between, or do they mean that it's going to have 24 levels that you work your way through? Which, I mean, either can be great, right? Like, if you have a large arena style thing, kind of like what shit, I forget the name of the game that I'm thinking of. If you have larger arenas, that can be fine too. It depends on what kind of gameplay that they build up in those. But I mean, I know for what it's worth that I prefer to play through levels, even if they're linear. I like to have distinct levels and environments in the game, and it's not quite clear if that's what this game is going to offer up yet. As awesome as the gameplay looks, like they all seem to be in like the same space for the most part. All the
Yeah,
scenes.
yeah, and I don't know, and I like you said, they could be good. I don't know why a lot of these games try to do like different things than things that work. I mean, I don't know. I guess everything shouldn't be as it always has, but a lot of things work, like they've always worked. And why mess with it? I just feel like a lot of games try to do a lot of weird stuff and don't make it a game. I want it to actually feel like a game. So, and maybe it is. Maybe it's really good. I mean, it looks good. Looks phenomenal, actually. So, hopefully. And Shadow Legends was
awesome.
good.
So excited for the rest of this year, man, because, we mentioned at the top that it's been a bit of a quiet spell for VR the last couple of months. But just looking at what's announced for the remainder of this year, like we're going to get 1 to 2 bangers a month. And I don't mean just games that are worth playing. I mean like high quality VR games per month for the rest of the year if we're going to meet the schedule that's out there. And I don't know that there's too many that I'm more excited for than this one.
Yeah, me too.
Assassin 32 VR joining us. What's up, friend? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to move through these stories pretty quick. As I mentioned before, we are running a little bit long here and a little bit late. I just wanted to give people this update on Arken Age. We're not going to have to wait very long. They're in beta testing now on Steam. I think they said when they finish the beta testing on Steam, they're going to submit for PSVR 2, and then when they work through QA, then they're going to launch. So not much longer to wait on Arken Age.
Nice. All right, technical difficulties. Yeah, let me fix this here. Yeah, I've got all sorts of things going on here. So 1 second, guys.
So take your time. I'm going to talk to the chat while you get the thing set up in OBS, and just let me know when everything's good to go.
Okay.
Gamertag VRs wants to know if we've played or talked about Into the Radius 2. I streamed it for about 3 hours last night, GT, and I'm digging it so far. I mean, there's a lot to like there, right? It's Into the Radius. I think that's my biggest takeaway, is that the core gameplay and the things that you love about Into the Radius are still present here. But I do like the variety that they're giving us now in terms of the different types of anomalies and things that you'll encounter out there in the maps, all the different weapons and attachments that they've got going on here. And it's a good looking game too, even in its very early state. And I mean, that's kind of something else that people need to take note of, is as good as Into the Radius 2 is today. This version is going to be unrecognizable from the final version. There's so much more that they're planning to add in. They literally sent a laundry list of things with the code telling us about all the different stuff that they're planning on adding to the game before it launches. So I'll agree, it's a very promising start for Into the Radius, Into the Radius 2, but there's still miles to go on that one.
All right, now we got the real actual trailer that was supposed to go.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
cool.
All right.
There's no easy way to say this. I found exactly what I was looking for on Perdan. Full-blown infestation. Everyone is dead. And soon, that number is gonna include me. I got careless and offended. It's in your hands now. I want you to know that I never gave up. Never stopped fighting, even after those things. Not once did I bow my head. By the time you hear this, I will have carved my name on the surface of this planet with a smoking crater. Zula Hendricks, signing off.
VR blockbuster Alien Rogue Incursion shows new gameplay and introduces the main character. This from Joe Earl at mixednews.com. VR studio Survios presented gameplay footage from the upcoming Alien Rogue Incursion at this year's Comic-Con. The trailer provides insights into the plot and the gameplay of the horror action game. According to the trailer, the protagonist is much more capable of defending herself than in the last major installment in the series, Alien Isolation. According to Survios, you take on the role of Zula Hendricks, a former soldier who goes on a hunt for xenomorphs on a remote mining colony to rescue her lost comrade. The Survios team promises an intense and nerve-wracking gaming experience in VR. According to the developers, the xenomorphs act unpredictably, cleverly exploit the environment, and attack from all directions. Quick reflexes and a cool head are required to survive the cruel attacks. In addition to iconic weapons such as the pulse rifle or shotgun, a motion tracker can also be used to scan the surroundings for danger. However, fighting the aliens is not always the best solution. Creativity and ingenuity are often required to escape dicey situations. Alien Rogue Incursion will be released for MetaQuest 3, PlayStation VR 2, and PC VR via Steam at the end of the year. The game is being developed on the basis of Unreal Engine 5, and, according to Survios, will be the studio's most ambitious project to date. Ruuts finally get to see some real gameplay footage from Alien Rogue Incursion. They showed us a taste like a month or a month and a half ago, but it was literally seconds, just a few seconds of gameplay. Then we thought it looked promising, but it wasn't enough to really tell anything about. A lot more gameplay here. And I got to say, I mean, obviously the caveat still applies. This is Survios, and we won't know until we play it how good it really is. But so far, so good. Like, this thing looks pretty awesome and looks like what a Alien VR game should look like.
Yeah, it looks a lot better than Walking Dead looked like. You know what I mean? Like it looks like it could be good. My only concern at this point, now that we've seen all this gameplay wise, would be how it's all pieced together. But I mean, the gameplay, it looks good. You know what I mean? I can't say that there's anything that I saw in this trailer. Well, there's one thing that makes me, and it is what it is. But you know, like how many welding things do we got? You got to cut through welding, and there's just certain gimmicky things that VR has, and I see them as gimmicky, and I don't like to see them in games anymore. And so now we're gonna have a welding tool that we get to cut through doors, and we do it.
I like that sort of stuff in moderation. Like, I don't think it should be a central gameplay mechanic, but things like that can serve to increase the immersion if done right. For example, if you've played Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge on PlayStation VR 2, that little mini tool that they give you to weld through things and unscrew and drill, pairing that with the haptics, really made for something that, you know, was annoying on Quest to me, but on PlayStation really added a lot to the experience. So yeah, hopefully we get more of the latter in this case, but only time will tell.
Yeah, and I get it. I don't know. Like I said, I just for me, I'm just over the gimmicky stuff, and that's what I consider it. And I not that it's a bad thing. It's part of the game, you know. But I just want more fast paced type of stuff, and it looks like you got that as well. So
Yeah, they are selling this as an action horror game, so I got to imagine that, and that isn't necessarily surprising that something coming from Servios is going to be more arcade style, and I'm fine with that. I mean, that's how the Alien mod that we played was
yeah,
I forget what it's called, but
Alien. Yeah, I can't remember either, but I know that I literally said if this game that we're talking about now is more like that, I'll be happy because I like the action in that game, right? So
I think it's going to be somewhere in between. I don't think that it'll be a remake of that game. I think that there's going to be more. It is going to be a VR game, right? Like the other game, you could tell was designed for flat. You're going to have things in your hands like the motion detector they mentioned, and you could see it in the trailer there, kind of using that to scan the area and find out where the threats are. You're going to be using your hands more. It's a VR game,
right,
but I do expect the action to be pretty intense.
yeah,
When it happens.
I like the monitor, right? Having able to see the the beeping of the aliens getting close, right? The sensor or whatever you want to call it that they got.
Yeah,
So
it reminded me of what was that, Theta Legion, or the follow up to Theta Legion? What was it called? Shit, I don't remember now.
I don't either, but it was good. And yeah, Fireteam Elite. That's exactly what it was. So
Thank you.
yeah, no, I after seeing this footage, I have higher hopes, and hopefully every time I see more footage or anything about the game, I'm more and more impressed by it. Because it seems like the game is actually, I mean, that the last several games have not been the best from Servios, but that doesn't mean this one can't be good. It's how much time and money did they put into it. So
Echo into the Future says also the tool and rednap matter was a neat adaptation. Yeah, that was great. The way that they made that hand tool work with the motion controllers, and really we've only seen that in a couple of games. Red Matter did that. Blair Witch did that with the camera, and yeah, it was really great how they adapted that. Anyways, we have one more headline before we get into the week's reminders, and this one pretty significant as well.
Rumor has it, I'm a savage. Got the magic, it's all the magic. Got a mask, who was that? Living legend, meet the weapon. Nice of mine, never tried. Tell them all. Big dreams, I got big dreams, just like baby. I've been joining forces with the likes of an A-team. Jumping off of buildings used to be so stimulating. Now I'm reaching new heights, I'ma need the off-white. Play with the fire, you get burned. All of my struggles became lessons well learned. I got desires that keep me grounded, that's for sure. Cause one day we gon' make it out this earth. Where's your worth? I'm sick of your talking, you got the wrong one. I'm taking your king and I leave him broken. If I am in second, it's after no one. Just give me a second to let him know. I'm the headline, the deadline. I'm ahead time, the rare time. I'm a living legend, lethal weapon, master. Big time.
Contractors Showdown Season 1 adds a new map, vehicles, and more. This from Jason Coles at Upload VR. Contractors Showdown, the VR Battle Royale game with a more realistic focus, launches its Season 1 update today. Released in April, Contractor Showdown now receives a rather large content update that adds vehicles for faster chase sequences and probably to run other players over. New weapons include an RPG, rocket launcher. There's 2 new characters with unique skills, a deployable recon drone, a compass to make it easier for you to find your way around the map, a new airport map, and larger battlefields. Elsewhere, Contractors Showdown is also adding left-handed support, more customization, and ammo options. Overall, it's a long list of new things for Contractors Showdown players. One that means the 60-player Battle Royale game should offer a wider variety of experiences than before. Presently, the other major VR Battle Royale game is Population 1, which has gone free to play since its launch and introduced the Phoenix Royale mode in May. It'll be interesting to see if this new update helps the game compete a bit more with the more established title, especially when Contractor Showdown isn't free. Contractor Showdown is available now for $19.99 on Steam and Quest. The latter will offer PCVR cross-buy support when it arrives on Rift. So Ruuts Contractor Showdown, not fucking around. They are bringing the heat. This first major update to the game, some 3 months after launch, it isn't just quality of life updates, man. They're bringing a new map. They're bringing vehicles. They're bringing stuff into this game that's going to change it on a fundamental level. And I absolutely love the idea. Like, I haven't got in here and played it yet. But, I mean, we were extremely impressed with this game on launch. Like, this is one of those games that we played together. And when we were coming out of our play session and getting ready to cover it, we said, hey, we need to not stop. We need to keep playing this. We need to get good because this is a good game.
And then we stopped.
And then we never went back. Sounds like it's a lot better now.
It sounds like it's time to go back. This is yesterday before I was saying I wasn't feeling the best, or that a couple days ago. This was one of the games that I was considering saying we should go into, right? Because season 1 came out, everybody's raving about it. It's been everything you just said was true, and we never went back to it. So
maybe we cover it on Saturday. Who knows? We're crazy like that.
Yeah. Well, GT says the Contractor Showdown is the bee's knees. Well, you know what, GT? We missed getting to play with you from Other Sons the other day, and our third Mash Daddy, otherwise known as Eric to the professionals. Eric is in China. I guess he's maybe not in China anymore. But we're going to need a third. We're going to need another player to play with, GT. So, and you know the ropes there.
That's true.
Maybe we get in
He's
there.
He's asking you to carry us, GT. Can you carry?
Please.
We're noobs. We're going to have to play the tutorial again. It's been that long.
For real.
But I remember that I like it. That's what I remember about the game, is that I really enjoyed it. And Ruuts, you can drive now. We can run over people.
That's what every growing man needs, to run over some people in a car in a game and not in real life. Don't do that in real life. You'll find yourself in jail. So
we can do drive-bys. I mean, we can literally do drive-bys in this game now. Like,
that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. We don't get picked off on the road, which probably what would happen. We would go downtown and some dude on a hill would pick us off right on the road. But I want to try Ruuts.
We should try it. Yeah, Echo into the Future got it right. He says I was asking GT on a date. I was just a little bashful. Yeah, I was just working my way around it, and without actually asking. So I didn't actually ask. But GT, we need you, man. But yeah, I think it'd be fun.
So if I had to guess, and I don't know anything about Warzone, I bet they have vehicles in Warzone, don't they?
Yeah. I've never played Warzone. I would imagine as well, but I know Fortnite does. And that's one of the things I said is missing from Pop 1 is vehicles. Although, like, you can fly across the map, so I guess you don't, kind of negates it, right? So,
Gamertag VR says if you unlock the Gamertag VR charm, you get 100% more firepower, 70% more accuracy, and 50% less recoil, 1,000% more luck.
Wow.
That sounds like two things. One, that sounds like an unfair advantage for certain people. And two, that sounds like a lot of self-promotion. So What's up? I'm just messing with you. Just messing with you, man. No, let's play. Let's play this Saturday, GT. If you're around, let us know. Let's get in and spend some time killing stuff.
They do have vehicles in Warzone. Pants says they are very fun as well. One hit kills.
Nice, nice. So I say basically what they've done with this season 1 update is basically make Warzone in VR and complete the package.
That's the thing. And I mean, obviously you don't need to, it's not going to be Warzone, but make it as close to, what people love about Warzone. And that's all that matters, right? You make it your own, which they've done. And, yeah. What time GT says?
Later in the day, whenever Ruuts gets home from work, which
usually
for you in the UK, it'll be a little later in the day.
Usually I'm done by like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Sometimes earlier. Last week, man, I didn't get done till like 5 o'clock. It was like a 12-hour day, and I started at 5 in the morning. I was like, "What the hell? This is my half day, Wes." No, not a half day last week. Yeah.
So by 1 or 2, GT, what he's saying is by 3 or 4 for me, which would be by 8 or 9 for you.
So not too late, about perfect time, right before bedtime.
Yep. Prime time on Saturday. It's today, 8 p.m. He says. So,
all right, let's set it.
All right, cool. Done. So tune in this Saturday as we talk about Contractor Showdown, and then probably another couple of games that are going to be on the game of the month list for the following Monday.
Oh yeah.
If I had to guess.
Game of the month is coming.
It is indeed.
Is Eric going to be able to at least call in? We've got to have him for game of the month. He didn't have to be on
I don't know.
camera.
I have no idea what's up with Eric. He's our doors are always open and welcome on the show anytime that he's available. But that's a busy guy. It's a big deal.
Yeah, sure. He's a big deal.
Yeah. But game of the month coming next Monday. I think we'll need the extra couple of days as usual to get ready for that show. But the time has come for yet another, and we'll get into it then. I tried to do some modding this weekend, Ruuts. I tried to get in and do Watch Dogs because the Luke Ross mod just updated for Watch Dogs 2, and that game looks like it would be awesome in VR. I can't get the game to boot flat.
Really?
Like it won't boot. Like I turned out I already had the game in my Ubisoft library. I installed the Ubisoft Connect player just to see what I had in there. I remember I had some stuff in there. They gave away a lot of games during COVID. And when I got on there, Watch Dogs 2 was one of the games I had. So I downloaded it, tried to boot it up. It gives you a splash screen, and then it just crashes. It doesn't do anything.
That's my favorite, Wes. It's like you're trying to play a game and it just fucking crashes. I'm like, no, you're not. Guess what? You're not playing this right now. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not playing this right now. Because what are you gonna do? How do you stop it from crashing? I don't know. I guess I troubleshoot and then I say, you know what? I've wasted enough time, and
that's exactly what I did. I put an hour or 2 into it and said, you know what? Fuck this. And I told Luke Ross about it too. It's like, hey, man, I wanted to play this. I can't. And then you start getting these messages asking you if you did all the obvious things, which of course I did.
So Tex got a good point, and you would know. Maybe they said something in the Luke Ross chat. Does it have to be Steam version, or can it work on that?
Well, I imagine the mod could work on either one. I didn't even get as far as putting the mod in. I couldn't boot it flat.
Oh yeah, that's true. There you go, Tech. I didn't. Yeah.
But maybe it would work. Maybe it would work in Steam. Luke Ross seems to think that it has something to do with the Ubisoft Connect thing. So he says when they crash super fast like that, then it often has something to do with the client, and it very well could. I also tried installing through Xbox Game Pass, but all Game Pass does is unlock it in Ubisoft Connect. So it's the same thing.
Same version. Yeah. I don't.
So maybe it would work. Yeah.
It'd be worth trying. I mean, if it was on sale from Steam and you could buy it, and then return it if it didn't work,
Yeah,
You know, you don't want
it
to
would
buy it
need to
from
be
a
on
key.
sale.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on how cheap it was. If you're buying it new, it's a $60 game. So, like, I'm not going to go buy it new. If I could get it for like $10 or less, I would probably take a flyer. And I mean, it's a big open world game that looks like it would be awesome in VR. Um, but I don't know. I didn't want to spend that much time on it, especially as something that we weren't already even talking about covering. I just wanted to play it. Um, so yeah, that's where we're kind of at with that. Anyways, that's going to wrap our headlines and get us into the week's reminders. And we're going to start with what's out this week. And guess what, Roots? There's actually stuff out this week.
Wow.
We gotta figure out their plans. I can see them.
This world is not ready for peace.
What are you talking about? You went back on every agreement we had. I don't follow any order that creates more chaos.
It's a little late for that, darling.
Zero Caliber 2 out this week. After a couple of delays, it seems that Zero Caliber 2 is finally going to hit the Quest platform on August 1st, which is Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. This is a game we covered a few weeks back, early in progress version of the game, obviously. Eric and I played together. But we were both relatively impressed with it. It was fun co-op gameplay. Essentially it was Zero Caliber, man. If you like Zero Caliber and like what it had going on, it's a bit of a refinement on that, but still very much the same style of game. It does still have the same type of finish screen in between missions. So you finish your mission, a screen pops up with like 3 different levels on it. You can pick which one that you want to go to and play. You get a score, you get experience points, which works with the progression system. It helps you unlock stuff. The one big thing I noticed though, Roots, is that um, if you don't pick the next level that you want to go to, it naturally puts you in to the next level in the story campaign. So there is a story campaign here. It'll play through the levels in order, and it is story driven. It isn't like just backstory. It has a legit story campaign going on here, and up to 4-player co-op. And all the stuff that you love about Zero Caliber. It's got a ton of weapons and attachments. I guess if I had to dang it on something negative, it would be the things that you always ding Quest on, right? Like the insides of the houses all look very similar. You know, it's a big map with a lot of different houses you can walk in and out of, but once you get inside the houses, it's hard to tell one from the next. They're have the same furniture and same television that's tuned to the same thing. But that's fine. It isn't about that. It's about clearing all the bad guys out of the houses and zip lining your way to the next area. And it does all that stuff really well. And like Contractors, it's got vehicles that you can drive around in from time to time and some really cool outdoor environments. Was one of the things I really appreciate about it. So a nice game on the horizon for those players on the Meta Horizon platform.
Cool. You say it's the like Zero Caliber one, so I assume it had all of what made the first one good, but like things are improved. Like, which not that the AI was bad in the first one. I can't remember, but it's been several years, so I'm sure almost everything is improved, right? So,
Right, right. Yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't call it like a giant leap over Zero Caliber 1, but there's been refinement in pretty much every area over the original.
Cool. All right. Well, when does that come out this week? You said?
Yeah, on Thursday. Comes out on Thursday.
Cool. Yeah, just a few days.
Tony Savino says, I'm tired of multiplayer. No one loves the single players anymore. Not true. You can absolutely play this game single player. It's just optional if you want to. Well, I mean, I guess that's not exactly true either. Because it is a co-op game. Even if you don't have people playing with you, the game will give you AI to play through the level with you.
Well, but that's still that is
Yeah.
single player. You know, that's old school. Like when you used to play a Call of Duty story campaign, you'd have AI people running with you and part of your squad, and in some of them anyway, right? So, yeah, I totally think that's
it's
legit.
squad based. Yeah, it's squad based, but it is definitely it does support single player.
Yeah, the typical Kiwi says I prefer single player games. It depends. I'm kind of leaning that way these days. I don't go into as much multiplayer, but then again, I'm also not gaming as much as I used to. But I go through phases, right? Like 6 months from now, I'll probably be gaming more than I did last year. So I'm just very selective of where I spend my time.
Yeah, I prefer single player as well, but I do like co-op. Like I'm not a big versus multiplayer fan, but
Yeah.
I do like playing through story campaign co-op.
I like PvE, where I'm
Right.
playing with players, not PvP. I don't want to play. I don't want to fight against other people because they're going to kill me, Wes, and that makes me sad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd like to have objectives other than just kill the enemy. I
Right.
like to have a story. I like to play through levels. I like to explore. So yeah. Anyways, that's not all that's coming to Quest players this week. They've got another very interesting title on the way as well.
My name is Alice. This facility was abandoned long ago. There is something I wish to ask of you. The facility is without power. I am similar to you, trapped here. I have been down here for so very long. Could you come down to where I am? Please do. I will be ready.
Hello, Cruel World, also coming out on Thursday. This one coming to Quest and PC. And this headline describes the game as Twitch meets Saw in VR. So it's a horror game. It's a story-driven horror game about a streamer, I guess, who's going to investigate spooky areas and things go sideways for them during their live stream.
Sounds scary.
Yeah, it sounds like a interesting concept for a story-driven game, anyway.
Yeah.
And it's scary. I like scary games, so
It looks like
already have. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say the premise to me, if it's written well, you know, if the story's good, you know what I mean? Like it could be very intriguing. You're the streamer, the chat's talking to you. Part of what the story going on is what's going on between you and the chat, right? Like I could see this
Right.
being actually kind of cool. So whether it is or not, I don't know, but it's unique. The story alone is unique, and I like that about it. And so I'll check it out. So
Yeah. We do have a key for this, so shout out to the developer.
definitely we'll check it out then.
Yeah. So looking forward to it. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it will present some unique opportunities for scares. where maybe the chat spots something before you can see it in the game and
Right.
kind of tips you off to danger in your area. So yeah, pretty cool. One more to go, and there were actually even more. There's a few more games coming out this week, but one more notable game. This one exclusive to PC VR. Tomb Explorer VR coming out this week. Also on Thursday. This one exclusive to Steam VR. I think the title pretty much says it all with this one, Roots. It's Tomb Explorer. You're gonna go explore some tombs. And if the trailer is any indication of what you might find, this could be an interesting game. Honestly, I played an early version of this a long time ago when they first started developing it. And I was actually quite surprised. It was better than I thought it was going to be because this is coming from a small indie studio. But they are using Unreal Engine, and it showed. We got in there, the graphic quality was pretty high. The user interface needed some work at the time, but the game itself was actually pretty fun. And like I said, that was a long time ago, so I imagine it's got to be on a whole new level by now.
It's Tomb Raider. So people in the chat are saying. Yeah, I mean, a lot. It's taking a lot of inspiration from Tomb Raider, or what Tomb Raider, people like about it, but it's going to be its own, and I think it looks cool. Definitely, like you said, looks really graphically amazing. So,
I don't expect a lot of story in this, but I think the levels are going to be fun to explore and play through. I mean, there was a Hydra in there, Roots. Did you see that?
yeah, I did. Also saw. I hope I saw a ball that you could be running from, and maybe some inspiration from Indiana Jones. So yeah, I think it's cool as long as it's fun. It doesn't have to be the deepest story, or even have a story. It just has to be fun for me anyway. That's,
No, it looks cool. I think it's promising, and yeah, we'll definitely be taking a look at this at some point, probably for next month's game of the month. But who knows? If it gets some really good reviews, maybe we'll pick it up before then and take a look at it. And that's what's out this week, folks. With that said, let's move on to a few viewer comments. We're going to start with Andrew Ehrenreich, who says, do you take suggestions for UEVR games to try out? Ad infinitum Infinitum would be an amazing horror game in VR. I'm playing it right now, flat, and all I can think while I'm playing is I wish this were in VR. Also, I'd love to see how Psychonauts 2 plays in VR. Both games are Unreal Engine 4. Obviously, we read comments. We don't really have a dedicated segment where we explicitly take requests, but we hear your requests and are very much open to being persuaded.
Right.
So now that you've said this, I'm sure that we'll go look at these games, and who knows, maybe one day we'll end up playing them.
Yeah. Well, it shows you that a lot of people are that don't have access to a VR or PC to play these kind of games would be like, oh man, I would just wish I could just be in the world. If I could just be in the world, Wes, it would be enough to play the game, be in there, but it won't be enough. Get in there and then you'll be like, please, this fucking controller, dude, you can't use this. That's slumming it, dude. It's got to be first person. It's got to be, yeah. Don't get me on that rant.
Shades of Grey Matter seconds the Psychonauts 2 nomination, and Looper wants to see us play Jedi Fallen Order.
Ooh, I almost actually mentioned that to you the other day, Wes, when we were you were mentioning, what to play because the other one didn't work, but it's one of those ones that I didn't mention it to because I wouldn't want to go into it like day of.
Right.
It'd be something you would want to be talking about right now for the weekenders type of thing. So,
okay, well, maybe we put it on one of those long playlists where we start dabbling in it as we have spare time, and then when we get an ample amount of time in it, and we come and talk about it.
Well, and I own it already too. So.
Oh, do you? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
And it's on Game Pass, according to Looper. So, there you go. Main fan says he tried the Uncharted Luke Ross mod, but couldn't get past the title screen. Said that the UI was too big and beyond my view. I tried changing the resolution and the GUI size settings in the mod, but nothing worked. It seems like I had something similar with Watch Dogs, and that's not a Luke Ross mod, but it required me doing stuff in the in-game settings to fix it, if I remember correctly. But it could be a completely different problem to what you're having. I don't know. That's strange. You've been playing the Uncharted mod off and on for a while. Have you been remodding it with the updates to the Luke Ross mod, or are you just running the old mod on it?
I know. This is the way I do it. If I'm anytime I go into it, like say when I went to Spider-Man recently, or when I went back into Uncharted, I always get the newest version that I have because there's always tweaks and updates that he does, and so I figure why not take the best version of it, right? So, but I'll tell you what, I've had the same thing with that, and it once you resize it, and I don't know if maybe you could get into just go into the game like you aren't gonna play it, or you can. I think there's an option you can turn it off. In the settings, you can turn off the VR and then get past that or something. But once you've gone through the menu, you can go. You know what you just need to do. You hit enter, go down one, hit enter. Because I had that problem where I was like, "Fuck, how do I get in here? I don't know what I'm supposed to click on." But I was able to get in. So.
Yeah, I do something similar when I have these sorts of problems with the mod. Is I'll just lift my headset up for a minute and use my mouse to click through the menus and stuff, and then when I get in the game, I put my headset back on.
But on Uncharted, it's so big you can't even see on your screen. You can't see shit. Like I know what he's talking about because I had the same problem. Like even when you look at your screen, it's you just can't see it, and then you look in there and it's. But if you know what the menu is on like the procedure to get in, where you could do it without looking, because I think you just have to hit enter and then down and then enter, or I don't know, I can't remember specifics, but it's kind of weird.
So just memorize what you have to do, and
correct.
Then, after you get into the game, it's fine.
And I believe there's a setting in the Luke Ross mod, if you can get in there and at least get the menu off up where it says to disable VR, and then you could literally just go in and then re-enable it once you're in the game, I believe. But I don't know.
Hope that helps. VR SpryGuy says it was nice to have a dead man walking join the game with Wes and Ruuts. He's talking about from
Yeah,
Other Sons.
that was cool.
He said, I'm sure viewers got more out of the real time review with someone who knows the ins and outs of the game. Good point. And shout out to a dead man walking for definitely adding to our stream the other day. It was almost a similar situation to when we played Survive that time. And we had a private match going on, and then that guy came in.
That was so weird. And then I couldn't get
us, and then that guy knew everything about the game and led us.
So let me ask you this, and maybe you know, I don't know to this day, and maybe I should. Like, did he just come by the stream because we were playing From Other Sons, or was he a fan of the show? Are you out there?
No, he came by because we were playing that game.
Oh wow! See, and this is
we
the
talked
thing.
to this guy. Yeah, he said he was in Japan or something,
Oh, that's
and he
crazy.
just happened upon our stream because it had that game in it, and he's a fan of that game. Obviously, a hardcore fan of it, and he discovered us because of that. I friended him on Oculus after the show Roots. So.
Oh, well, awesome. Well, I hope he's out there. Let us know in the comments today if you're watching the show. A dead man walking.
Shout out to Dead Man Walking.
Yeah, we need to finish that game. We need to go back in there and continue. That was fun, right?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I'd like to see how it opens up over time, or if it just kind of continues to repeat and you just keep grinding on with it.
Well, it just gets harder, and it just changes. It's a strategy game. A lot of strategy to it as well. So
I had fun with that mission where we had to try to stop those pirates from escaping. I think that was the most fun I had during the whole thing.
yeah, well, it's just you continually. I mean, it gets crazy from what people tell me. It's I know Radio Runt wants to play and Tech, so we have people out there as well.
Word. Andrew Ehrenreich again. I didn't realize I put him on here twice, but that's what happens when you make a bunch of good comments, I guess. Wes, you have to play Little Nightmares 2. It's so much better than the first game.
Wow.
Those are big words, Roots, because I rather enjoyed the first game quite a lot, playing it on a 3D screen with Vorpex forever ago.
It's ironic he says that, Wes, because on Saturday, that was another game that I was considering mentioning because it was on the list, right? And then I went to Steam and I was looking at reviews and stuff, and it was overwhelmingly positive, but then it shoves the negatives in your face. A couple people were saying that the first one was better, and they listed all sorts of reasons. And then so, like, I was almost convinced that the first one was better. That people told me. I read it on Steam, Wes. They wouldn't lie to me. And don't worry about this 171,000 overwhelmingly positive. This is one of the few negatives that are there. But no, I've heard it's good. I know Alex. Speaking of Alex G, right? He was a big fan of that series, right? Little Nightmares. So
yeah, I think you're right about that. I think that's why we ended up picking it up. It's because he kept recommending it.
Yeah.
And well, I thought it was great. I'd like to get. I didn't finish it. Played half or more through it, but never did find the end of it. And that's a pretty dark ass game. I mean, you wouldn't think it from looking at it because it's a side scroller, and it looks kind of like it might be a kid's game. But there's some fucking morbid, dark stuff in that game. So yeah, rather enjoyable.
Yep.
Shadow and Tom and Lab Game 3276. You mentioned comfort in the headset. Do you have any mod straps on it? In your opinion, which headset offers the best comfort straight out of the box? Thanks for the awesome video. I'm excited to dive into the Radius on PSVR 2 when it drops. I've heard nothing but great things about it. And congrats to everyone on PlayStation VR 2 for the recent announcement of Into the Radius coming soon. You guys are going to dig that game so much. As good as 2 is, like if I had to recommend to someone who's never played either of them today, it's hands down. Go play the first one. The first one's finished out and fully featured.
Right.
The early access version of 2, as great as it is, it's promising. It's still not a complete game, and it's nowhere near being a complete game. So,
Well,
um,
it's the first one too, right? So like you said, it's fully fleshed out. You're playing that one. It's very deep. Takes a long time to beat it. By the time you finish it, you wait a month or two. Then they're finishing the second one. Adding to it. They've been adding to it. So.
But to answer your question, so I was going on during my stream about the one thing that really does bother me about Quest headsets in general, the comfort. I did a 3-hour stream in it, and by the end of it, I was feeling it, man. But I don't know if that's the fault of the headset necessarily. I've got this Bobo M2 strap on it, the one that has the prongs that go into the top of your crown of your head, and I didn't like that on Quest 2, and I don't like it on Quest 3. It digs into my head after some time, and I have to keep adjusting it, and it makes the top of my head sore. So I'm probably going to have to mod it the way I modded my other one. I just cut those prongs off, and it was fine after that. But that I hope answers the first part of your questions. Yes, I am using a mod strap. I'm using the battery strap for Quest, the original battery strap for Quest. Which headset offers the best comfort straight out of the box? For me, PSVR 1 is the all-time GOAT for me. And then behind that, I would say my HP Reverb G2 is also very comfortable. Ruuts, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I really like my Quest Pro comfort-wise as far as the that Halo strap. It kind of reminds me of how we felt about PSVR 1, but even better. But this is the thing. This is exactly what I was saying about the big screen beyond and the form factor and stuff. Like, we got to get to a point where we almost don't feel like we have a headset on, because even the lightest, best fitting headset, after a while, it's like, okay, I've been wearing this headset. I don't want it on anymore. Even if it doesn't hurt, it's not as comfortable as not having a headset on. Imagine VR, where you don't even feel like you have anything on, like wearing a pair of sunglasses, or, really that'll be, if they can get it to that size, oh, dude, that'll be a dream, right?
Yeah, I don't think that they're far in terms of comfort.
I don't
I
either.
don't think it would take much for
Not
it to
much.
be
Yeah.
comfortable physically, but also I need the pass through to continue to increase, because it's still kind of like putting a blindfold on. I mean, it's way better now. Like, you can see for the most part what you're doing. But when I'm trying to stream or something, um, I still have to lift it up to do things on my computer. I'd like to have something that I can just grab and put on. It goes on really quickly. It's comfortable, and I can keep doing things in the real world when I'm not playing my game. And if something pops up while I'm playing, I can just hit a button, deal with it without having to pull the visor up. That's the level of comfort and utility that we need to get to, and we're not far.
I think the Quest Pro kind of had it right too. And I didn't think it would work, but we're so focused on isolating every last bit of light out that you don't realize that when you don't have, with that being open, where I can still see this, right? I can still see stuff and I can still do stuff, but I can still, you don't even, when you're doing VR, you just don't look down. It's a weird thing. It's like your eyes tune that out, block it out. It's kind of a weird thing, but, and then it's more open and you have that more airflow. I like that factor, and it's what's sad. I don't think it'll ever be done again. So
I like the way PSVR does it with the telescoping visor that kind of pushes in and out. So when you want that gap and you want to be able to see, you can pull it out. And when you want to be immersed, you can kind of push it in with just the button. That's what I prefer. Last but not least, we have Simplex, who says, nobody wants to die is polished because it's Polish.
It's true.
I finished it recently. it's not really like point and click adventure game because it's linear and it's almost impossible to get stuck. Good game, although I got a bad ending because I didn't know what the conditions are for the good ending. I recommend checking, unless you like pessimistic, depressing endings. That sounds like a recipe to spoil the damn story for me.
Yeah, that's what it
Like,
sounds like to me.
yeah.
How about this? You play through it once, you get the depressing, and then you look into it and you go back. Gives you a reason to go back in and see what the better ending is, right? So
Maybe you want the ending to tear your heart out, right? Maybe it's a drama. I mean, this guy has a pretty sad story as it is.
yeah,
Um,
I don't know. I really enjoyed it. So the story and
yeah.
everything. So
6 to 7 hours long, he says, if you play it for the first time and don't speed run it. So that's a fair length for a VR game, which is not a VR game; it's a mod. But we're not playing it flat. Obviously, we're playing it in VR, and sounds like a good 2 to 3 sessions to finish that one. And I'm down with that. I'm fine.
yeah.
It's not perfect for me. Perfect is 10 to 15 is what I like, but 6 to 7, that's plenty enough.
It depends. I mean, if it's a good enough game and a good enough story, 6 to 7 could be perfect. For me anyway. I don't, like at some point, 10 to 15, just because, I mean, it better be really good and want for me to
Oh, yeah,
want to
of
go
course.
all that way. 6 to 7, I'm more apt to do that easy in, one sitting, but just depends on the game, I guess. But I really enjoy it. I think everything he says there is accurate, except for the cheating and looking ahead. Simplex. I can't believe you'd
Yeah,
suggest that.
yeah, we're not going to do that. But I'm all for going back to it. I almost streamed this instead of Into the Radius just because I wanted to pick it back up.
I almost just went back into it. Again, it was another one that I was looking at, but I was like, we just talked about that the other day or a couple weeks ago. So
Speaking of which, one lucky viewer is about to own a copy of this game because we've been running a giveaway since we covered this game on our podcast a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, it is time to draw a winner. A lot of people entered for this compared to like one of our normal entries. Almost 30 people entered to enter Nobody Wants to Die,
really,
which is encouraging. It shows us that our community is engaged with the modding scene and definitely interested in the games that we're covering. So that's always good. Anyway, we're going to pick a winner as we always do. Everyone who left a comment on that video received a number next to their name. We will now go to the random.org random number generator to pick a winning number, and the name next to that number will be the winner and receive a key for Nobody Wants to Die on Steam.
I don't want to die, Wes, but well, I guess I do in a way, but I don't want to die anytime soon.
There you go. Numbered 1 through 28. And the winner is number 16.
Oh,
I knew it. I knew it would be 16, Ruuts.
I knew it too. It's probably tech, isn't it? Techno glitch.
It might be. I don't know. Let me pull it up and we'll find out. We'll find out together.
Well, while you're looking into it, Tony Savino says, "Roots, you don't want to play No Man's Sky for 400 hours." Wes, I went into No Man's Sky the other day and cranked everything up, and it looked amazing and it ran amazing. And I was telling Ray to run that in the chat. And he actually, I guess, got it to run and look amazing on his PC on his 3080. So maybe that's
nice.
another game we can go in. He could give you tips on what you could do as far as optimizing what he did. And it was good. It was fun. So
it was great last time I did it on PlayStation VR 2 after that big update that used the foveated rendering. Like it was awesome then. It's not about how the game looks. Like the game will always look beautiful. it's just the game itself is a like super grindy um, resource collection game, and I get it. I know that there's highly customizable, and you can really adjust that stuff if you want to go in and custom tailor the game, and I'm sure that would improve it somewhat. And I'm sure we'll get back in there like we do it once a year. I'll go back in and play it for the fifth time, and I'm sure I'll largely have the same opinion of it when I'm done. We know what the game is at this point.
Yeah.
But no, it looks great, and I love the idea of having this large, fully explorable universe that you can meet your friends in, and lots and lots of depth. I mean, that's a game that you could literally, if you just were going to pick a game to play forever, that'd probably be the one you want to do because it's infinitely replayable.
They just keep adding to it, right? So
So let's see here. We're looking for 16. Wow, these are not in order. Or put them back in order. It's going to make it so much easier. Sort by newest. Frick.
Echo into the Future says that he streams No Man's Sky all the time on Kick. He loves flying over the planet so much, and he's streaming from a cloud PC, no less. So there you go. You don't even need a PC.
JTM7336.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be him or her. Is that a guy or a girl? I don't know. Or it's none of my business.
Congrats. You are the winner. You know what to do. Tag me on Discord and claim your prize. JTM7336, congratulations.
GT says, do you know who else likes lots for depth?
My mom!
Oh, yeah, she loves it. She loves the deeper the better. I heard.
Indeed. Anyway, moving along to the next reminder. This is the part of the show where we ask all of you, just give us a moment of your time to support the devs out there by taking a moment to join us in real time as we all go and wishlist a game. It's a very simple and easy gesture that we all can do, and it makes a huge deal to the developers out there, helping them gain a foothold on the platform that they're publishing on. This week, Ruuts, I couldn't help myself. I had to go wishlist Arken Age. This thing looks amazing. It's coming out soon. You can wishlist it on PSVR. You can wishlist it on Steam. And it's coming from a small team that really can use all of the word of mouth and all of the support that we can give them. So, again, super stoked for Arken Age. Can't wait to play it. And definitely my wish list this week.
I can't wish list it on PlayStation VR 2 again. As soon as I pulled up the page, I was like, oh shit, I'm wish listing this as well. So
nice. So yeah, everyone, please let us know what you wish listed in the comments down below. I don't know why I keep saying that, Rich. Nobody ever does it. We normally have a few people in the chat that will share. But no one ever leaves a comment to let us know what they wish listed. You know why? Because they're not wish listing. Those sons of bitches are not doing it.
Which button is it? This one?
How dare you?
Yeah, I haven't used that one for a while. I was like, I get nervous sometimes. I'm gonna hit Joe Biden or something. No, I know where that one is.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that you guys need a wish list. Actually, you know what we need to do is just give a random person a game sometime. You know, maybe it'll happen one day.
Yeah.
Somebody will say, yeah, just because you gave that comment, right? So
that would be an interesting thing to do. So we every week someone leaves a comment of
comment of the week, comment of the month.
Someone leaves people. We could ask people to leave a comment of what game they wish listed, and if we draw their name at some period of time, then they will win a game off their wish list. Of course, we would look at their wish list then
Oh,
and
at
pick
that
something
moment,
off of it.
from this
Yeah.
moment on, you're not adding that shit. Too bad.
So
Should've had it on
maybe
there.
maybe that's something that we could do leading up to 2024 show.
Yeah.
Just compile entries every week. Everyone gets an entry that leaves the comment. But then again, they have to do the wish list, because if they win, we're going to be able to see their wish list and pick a game off of it. So I don't know. That's a good idea.
I know Spry says you guys should see my Steam wish list because of this show. Yeah, Spry's wish listing every week. So I know.
It's ridiculous. Like I get most of the games that I wish list, and I never take them off. Like they're still on my wish list. So
Yeah.
Inferno 9 says I need to get Half-Life Alex soon. Yes, you need to get Half-Life Alex soon. All these people coming into PC VR, so excited for these mods, and it's getting to the point now where Half-Life Alex has become such an afterthought to people that it doesn't get the praise that it deserves anymore.
It's amazing.
That game,
but
yeah,
this is the thing. How old is it now? We're now 6 years. Not saying it's not. It wasn't ahead of its time. It's, you play it today and you would think it's new. You know what I mean? Like it's that good. But at the end of the day, you know, like I was talking to a customer the other day, and he was talking about, you know, he had an index. He knew about Alex. He didn't know much about VR much now, but he got when he played Alex and hasn't played much, you know? So at some point, I think unless you're a big Half-Life fan, it's like Wes and I said when we played it, we loved it. It was cool, but we're not in that. We weren't big fans of that world, so it wasn't this huge monumental deal. It was another game, really good game, but it was just another game. And so I think that a lot of people don't realize that, you know. So,
oh, it's a great game. It's still the standard with regard to immersion in a game. Like there are some experiences and things that may be as immersive or more immersive, but as far as like a game that you can play and have fun in, there aren't many as immersive even to this day as Half-Life Alex.
And it's a full-fledged
incredible
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's really good.
Yeah.
It's almost been long enough that where like I would consider playing through it again. Like I played through it and beat it back in the day, but it's been years since I've played
That's
longer
true.
than 15 minutes of it, you know.
Me too. Yeah.
I always go into it just to see what it looks like when I get new hardware or new headset or something. I'll go in for a minute and play through that first part of the first level, just to say wow again. But I was like, there's so much stuff that happens and such diversity in the levels when you play through it, and so many crazy things that happen in the story. And the last like 4 or 5 levels are just insane. I think it might be worth another play.
Here's my problem with Half-Life Alex. I want it to be more like Half-Life 2. You know, not, I mean, you know, say
That's definitely a better
gameplay-wise.
game.
Yeah.
That's definitely a better game.
I'm hoping like the next Half-Life, if they come up with another one in VR, have it be more, you know, you've already done the one that was kind of tamed back, right? And that's my biggest gripe with it. It was kind of, they held back a little bit. Otherwise, it could have been one of the best games of all time in VR, right? So
Half-Life 3 needs to be both. Needs to be flat and VR.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Reaver wants to know Quest emulator for PC when. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that someone hasn't done that already. I mean, basically the Meta OS is just it's a highly modified version of Android. So you'd think that someone would have taken one of those Android emulators and modified it further to play the Quest games. But I don't know. I don't really pay as much attention to kind of the black market side of hacking and, you know, free games anymore, because I got free games the legal way now. I cover them on YouTube. But I guarantee if I had never done this, I'd probably be stealing the games left and right um, right now. So
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely can't be that hard. And Tony Zavino has the most important question: what is better, Half-Life Brady Bunch or Half-Life Golden Girls? I'm trying to think of which one would be better, and I can see cases for both sides. So we'll have to leave that on like as a
For
mystery, right?
what's up,
Hey.
Simplex? We just spoke about you a moment ago when we read your comment. Anyways, Steam Link should come to PS5 for sure, says Inferno 9. I don't know if that's going to be necessary, man. Or I guess maybe you're talking about in a flat capacity. I guess that's possible. Anyways, anyway, I think that's our show for the week. I want to thank everyone. Oh, I guess I could give the final reminder, right, of how people could support us and our channel and our community. Of course, if you haven't already, why haven't you subscribed? It's the easiest thing to do. It's easier than wish listing. You just have the buttons right there. Like it's literally right there.
It's a
And
one-time deal,
yeah,
supposedly.
yeah, you just click on that, click that bell next to it, and then sometimes YouTube will tell you when we're about to go live. Not every time, but sometimes it happens.
It's kind of important.
Yeah, typically it is. If you've already done that and you'd like to do a little something more, you can support us on Patreon, where for as little as $3 per month, you'll gain access to our weekly show notes, exclusive content, insider updates, and more, all for less than $1 per week. And you also get to feel really good about yourself because you're allowing us to do cool things on this channel that we otherwise would not be able to do. So shout out to all the patrons out there. You all rock.
And
Thank you so much.
shout out to JPEG. Was it JPEG that you just said that he had a comment on $5 super chat that we missed somehow? I just saw.
Did we?
Yes.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get back to that. Fan funding. JPEG. Yeah, he sure did. Sorry about that. I didn't even see it.
Me neither. But I
reading
saw
through
his
this.
comment as you were doing the outro thing.
He says, "Have you or anyone you know tried Prism XR Carina W1 battery belt? It's been awesome for keeping my Quest 3 charged for long play sessions.
Really?
10,000
Wow.
milliamp hours. So that's basically the equivalent of 5 of the little Bobo batteries.
That's why I got that big brick, the one that I have, that I, if I don't mind keeping it in my pocket, it's 10,000, and it'll last like 8-10 hours or forever. So.
No, I don't think so. I think the name Prism XR sounds familiar. I think this might be one of those companies that may have contacted me at some point trying to set up some kind of an endorsement deal. We get stuff like this. People trying to send us Quest accessories all the time. And we just don't have time to cover all that stuff. If it's something that we really think that we'll use, I'll make an exception, like the Behaptic stuff, for example, stuff that we're going to use and talk about on the show. But I won't do any kind of like agreement to where you're going to send me your stuff and pay me to do exclusive content on your accessory. We just don't have time for that. Send me stuff by all means. Everyone, send your stuff. But the only promise I'm going to make you is that if we use it, we'll talk about it. But I'm not going to promise you we're going to use it. You know what I mean?
Right. Just got another super chat.
Awesome. Inferno 9 with the $4.99 US donation says, I'll throw one out as well. Thank you so much. It's really, really helpful. We've got big purchases coming up, probably by the end of this year or early next year. There's going to be a new headset, or it's going to be time to upgrade graphics cards or something like that. And the money that you're contributing will absolutely help with that. Not to mention all of these giveaways we're doing.
Right.
Most of them come from the donations. The giveaway we did today, completely funded by tips and the Patreon. So shout out to everyone who donates. You all are awesome. Anyways, what else? Discord. You don't have to have money to come to our Discord. It's free. And this is where we hang out all the time. And it's friendly most of the time. Like
Right.
literally almost all of the time. It's a friendly atmosphere. When you agree, Ruuts?
Yes, absolutely. I think almost everybody is. Every once in a while, people, have disagreements for whatever, but I mean, I don't think anybody's ever rude. I just think this is weird how far this down, and it's like in such a, like, why is it behind this?
It's behind, yeah.
Yeah, I never seen that. There we go.
There you go.
That was weird.
Boom. But we're in there all day, every day, talking about VR, talking about stuff that's not VR, typically talking about building PCs and modding games these days. That's tends to be the most popular topic. Although we do get some other stuff in there from time to time. That's the kind of thing that people are talking about on a daily basis is building PCs and PC components. But there's place in there for everything. There's a music channel and there's a cartoons channel that I post cartoons in sometimes. Basically, when I can think of it on Saturday morning, I like to do cartoons, but I always forget.
Laughs. There's all sorts of channels.
Laughs. Yeah.
And what's great is all of them started with somebody suggesting, hey, we should have this channel. And I was like, okay, sure. We don't do a vote. It just goes up. And then people either use it or don't. So it's cool.
Yeah, we probably could use a cleanup sometime in the next 5 years. We'll clean it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Get rid of some channels and add some new ones. But what's in there right now works pretty well, and we've got a great community. So please join. There's an invitation link in the description down below. We will be there to greet you at the door, I assure you. Inferno9 says it is a great Discord. I agree. It is a great Discord. It's a great community. You all make it great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, with that, that's our show. I'd like to once again thank everyone who stayed up late or got up early to hang out with us here tonight. And stay tuned. We'll be back on Saturday, probably to talk about Contractors Showdown and a couple of other new releases. But who knows? We're going to play what we want and talk about it. That's what we do every Saturday. But until then, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Ruuts and Brad, I'm Wes. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Stay easy.